our removing ourselves from the situation will lead to people getting hurt. It would suck to lose Rojava. I feel like the best thing we could do for them would be to get Turkey's hands.
You literally just said it. You don't give a fuck about these people. You literally just said it.
This is the U.S. intelligence agency, Mind Control.
The U.S. has launched airstrikes in retaliation for an attack on a U.S. base in Jordan that killed 3 soldiers. Let's bring in national security and global affairs reporter for NBC News' investigative unit, Dan DeLuce, at the Pentagon. Dan?
Yes, defense officials are telling us that the airstrikes have begun in Iraq and Syria against Iranian-backed militias, something that obviously the White House has been warning they would do. It has now begun. This operation has been pretty clearly now telegraphed for days since 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in Jordan in that drone attack on Sunday. And now this operation has begun. And keep in mind, administration officials have made it clear that this is not a one-off, that this will extend beyond today, over days. It will be a campaign, and it will involve multiple strikes and other operations. But right now, the retaliatory strikes have begun in Iraq and Syria against those Iranian-backed militias that have launched more than 160 attacks on U.S. forces since October 7th, since that war started between Israel and Hamas.
Dan, do we have any further details on the targets in Iraq and in Syria?
They are not releasing those details yet, but judging by, keep in mind, we've had previous airstrikes in the past, more limited airstrikes against those militias, and they tend to go after weapons depots. They go after different sites used by the militias, including command and control sites, anywhere where they believe they can degrade the capability of these militias, which of course, as we know, are financed.
I don't get why you're in favor of bombing the Houthis but not the Iranians. Because I think that defending international maritime trade, if done effectively, is
oh my god, I'm already losing it. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? His take is that defending international trade is like more important. Oh my god, how could you have like a more ANCAP fucking like retarded take? Are you fucking serious?
We know that this was his take.
I know, but I didn't think that it's like you're in favor of this, but not that. Oh, I only care about international trade. What are you, the fucking United States of America, bro? Fuck off.
Back and forthing between U.S. service members and Iranian-backed militias is an inevitable and endless consequence of our occupation in the Middle East. Like, there is no way around this. There are 2 ways around this, and it's either we leave or we nuke Iran into oblivion, which hopefully we're not going to do. You know, I'd really rather take the former route, but as long as we're there and Iran is there, this is going to keep happening over and over and over and over and over again.
Base socialist.
It's trained in
literally telling socialists that they should just die in the Middle East.
Would you admit bombing the Houthis is a bad idea now? No. Again, like
yes.
that's
it is. You know? Oh my god, you fucking idiot, bro. It's so much more of a bad idea to bomb the Houthis because it's going to do nothing. Because you have a ship or something.
Not have like regional movements attacking civilian shipping vessels anytime they have an axe to grind.
Anytime
you can't do it.
That can be the thumbnail.
Bro, they fucking attacked a base in Jordan and killed 3 people. Like
it's a bit more serious than ships.
It literally is more serious than ships, but as far as U.S. priorities go, the ships are more important than their own bases.
Mm-hmm.
We should just let Iran have the Middle East. Let Iran have the Middle East. Let them take over. Let them oppress all the people even more than the dictators that are in charge. Let them cooperate with Russia to kill all the people who are fighting against the Assad regime. Kill all the Sunnis in Iraq who fought with us to destroy ISIS while the Shia militia didn't really do shit.
You can't have that. Can't have that. The world must descend on those that threaten the Funko Pop, commerce lines. We need the Amazon Prime, the backbone of modern civilization. Must continue.
I would love to if he would respond. If he would respond. You know, but the thing is that everyone in this, because we don't even plan to stay on YouTube, but because we're in YouTube right now and all that shit, like these people are all size queens. So they don't I literally emailed Vaush telling him I would hook him up with interviews with like insurgents and YPJ fighters. And he told me that he was too busy. So that's what it is. It's like they're size queens. We're not big enough to be relevant to them. So if Lonerbox is
indication
cool
at the
enough to
moment
talk to us, I would love to talk to him. He's actually very intelligent, has good takes on a lot of things.
that the U.S. is taking any action.
That's why we
inside
don't watch
Iranian
his videos
territory.
here.
So these
Spice must
strikes
flow.
are taking place in Iraq and Syria, where those militia groups are based and where they operate. But of course, there's a challenge here. Once the U.S. warned that it would respond to that drone attack, that has given the militias time to evacuate and to hide and conceal.
Why can't the U.S. just
Shut
negotiate with Iran?
up?
Because
This
we backed
guy's an
ourselves
idiot
into a
too.
corner, kind
Vaush,
of.
you're
I
not
mean,
even
Donald
listening to the dumb
Trump,
shit this guy's
reneging
saying.
on the nuclear accords, and
Because he's pulling a Hassan and reading the chat.
That's not what it
making Iran extremely angry for just like dropping an agreement we had with them.
Yeah,
they don't
Iran
really have
was
any
so
reason to
upset.
trust us, you know.
Yeah, that's the reason why
weapons
Iran
and
doesn't
their
trust
capabilities.
us.
Dan, as you described, as officials
then
have described, this is
Soleimani,
likely to be
yeah.
a tiered approach.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
sense of what that might look like?
I think we're going to see a much larger scale of airstrikes than we've
This is
seen up
actually a good
until now,
idea,
right? Until
John.
What?
Look,
Oh man.
be one of his callers and just dumps through
Then I
him
have to like
on
camp the show
stream.
and shit. If I was gonna do that to anyone, it would be Sam Cedar.
That's true. You should actually try and do that. That would be great.
The phone gives me anxiety.
Fair enough.
No, I'd love to talk to Lonerbox because he's actually intelligent.
They were quite limited, quite calibrated over the past few months. This is going to be a much larger scale, involving a lot more aircraft, a lot more missiles, dozens of targets, I would guess, judging by what they've been indicating. And
I was talking about Lonerbox. He does call in.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying the person I would do call-ins with would be Sam Cedar.
Yeah.
And then keep in mind too, at
to
some point,
ask him to apologize to the Kurdish people for constantly platforming people who are fucking against them and deny
I would be very interested to see how he responds to
I would literally be like, yeah, I think you owe the entire nation of Kurdistan an apology for like the atrocious shit that you've had.
Do you know how viral that would go if he uploaded that on YouTube?
I mean,
like, I don't know whether he
does
would.
owe the entire nation of Kurdistan an apology. So does
I agree.
Hassan definitely does as well, even though he had breast belching on.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
The strikes at sea, or excuse me, against the Houthis in Yemen, who've been attacking those commercial ships.
Oh, I already know that
those.
like Vaush is like pro Soleimani. I've already raged about this before in the past.
Operations right now targeting the Houthis in Yemen at the moment, but I
which
think
is
it's fair to
dumb.
assume that will come as part of this multi-tiered campaign.
Think about it. The only reason they're targeting the Houthis is because if we don't attack people who are attacking international trade, it sets a precedent.
Yes.
The Houthis are going to go right off that terror watch list right when this ends. We're going to go back to working with them. Like, we had troops in there working with them before these strikes happened. Like
special forces, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's and they're still there. You know, like I think there's 7 U.S. members still in there, but they're doing like logistic stuff, like on the ground, like tracking targets and stuff.
Yeah.
Star General and MSNBC military analyst.
Trump assassinating Soleimani was one of the worst actions of his presidency. Oh, unironically, yeah, for sure. It basically like
my God,
any kind of
I hate you
diplomacy with Iran impossible.
You should
at least
ironically,
future.
you should just
Soleimani was beloved by the population.
You should stop.
He was a hero.
Like you should stop. People. You should Soleimani yourself.
Need Trump in office
just up and murking him,
bro. Imagine like saying defending a dude who literally is like one of the worst. Like you know what? Who was a great guy? Bin Laden. Like fucking Soleimani was worse than Bin Laden. Like the state that Iraq is in, the state that Syria is in. He has done more damage to that all these nations than the U.S. The U.S. is like, what did they do? A little imperialism, took some oil.
He wasn't like
you know how to fix this? Jack, do you know how to fix this?
I do know how to fix this. I do. 1 minute. Hi, do you want to know how to fix this? Stop.
Dispose us positively towards those people. Are you prepared to admit your take on drugs and weed caused this airstrike campaign? Yeah, all this is being informed. Biden also has
about how he's anti-substances and nobody should take them. Basically. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I just saw some people were mad about it. He also said a bunch of stuff about how white people get hurt from white privilege or something, and it's like,
sure,
whatever, dude.
Yeah. Libertarian socialist take is drugs are bad and should be banned.
He didn't say that. He just said that nobody should take them or something.
Yeah, well, if people want to take them, they can fucking take them. It's up to them.
Coincidence? Not really. Vaush Soleimani wasn't like.
Yeah. Well, Jack just saw that video and he was like, he asked me, he's like, what is going on here? And I literally responded, colonialism. But he showed that video where they're all in the street like dancing.
I sent the video. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this looks like a bop.
Yeah. All I said was, it's colonialism. It's literal federal.
He wasn't like the unambiguous.
It's wild.
Don't show it to the communists. Who want to call everything settled? They want to call literally airstrikes on the Houthis federal colonialism. Okay, bro. I mean, can we just say that like they're worthless and they won't degrade the Houthis? Do we have to fucking put all this like shit on top of it? Like, get a life. Go outside.
Have some grass.
US 100% hero that some people paint him as. I mean, you know, he wasn't like I don't know, can Mr. Rogers to the Iranian people, but he was an extremely prominent, respected.
Which people?
You know,
there's also people who paint Bin Laden
as has been pointed out about the American psyche.
This is true.
They're all on TikTok.
Americans have no real life heroes. What was that? Who was it who said that there was some Iranian who said we would kill an American celebrity?
I'm gonna hurt my voice by the end of this.
Who would it be? SpongeBob, Spider-Man? The Americans have no heroes, which is kind of true. Like, there aren't really any people in American government who are just beloved by the people. That's not really a thing that America has. America is too partisan, and also
God, I wish I could just
ineffective. You know, for the most part,
Soleimani's
we endure constant gridlock.
Corpse on the screen right now because it just gives me so
much
joy.
That's a good thing. I actually think it's an extremely bad thing. I think it's good for societies to have heroes. If a society can't have heroes, it either means that like it's too polarized to produce them, or the circumstances are so dire that nobody can rise to the occasion. You know, I think it's important to have just like, you know, broadly respected and effective, you know, figures in society and government.
But he's like, I know he did totally fight ISIS, but I don't even know what Golden Division is.
Do you mean strongmen or heroes? When did I say strongmen? Why would I say? Do I mean strongmen or heroes? I said hero every time. When did I say strongman? When would that be the thing that I said? Do you mean we need heroes or Hitlers? I misheard you. What?
Sure sounds like fucking hero worship, my guy. Sure sounds like someone bootlicking the state is what that sounds like.
Literally no critical research on Soleimani because the Iraq narrative is broadly controlled by the Shia party.
Like it's just very it's just very, 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 very curious that Vaush is making this point.
Yeah.
So
next he'll defend Lenin. He probably would.
I'm not so sure about that. Vaush, heroes create cults of personality. Everyone creates cults of personality.
No, what you are literally advocating for is idol worship and propping the state up. This is how centralization happens. This is how power corrupts.
Remember when Iran was like, you only have figures like SpongeBob? And I was like, why are you, as the guardians of Islam, building idols of a man?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like this whole, like, especially because he fancies himself an anarchist.
Yeah, that's the image that is like okay to show, but you go find the uncensored corpse of Soleimani. It is insane. All his limbs are gone, and they're all like twisted underneath him and stuff. I think they knocked his socks off as well. Like his shoes are gone.
Epic.
Yeah, it's a fucking dope picture. You can barely recognize him. He's like
it's probably almost as good as the Mussolini one with his staff. Clutching his stuff like a fucking loser.
That one is like symbolic and iconic, but like it's overshadowed by him being hung upside down.
True.
All leaders do. I'm not talking about like no, whatever. You can project your own whatever.
Yeah, I think they're going to hold
the idea
like,
that a hero is a bad thing is again, this is like an American disease. I'm moving on.
General McCaffrey, what are you looking for as the story
develops?
Because
we don't have enough fans.
Well, I think
here that they could fill one stadium.
Strike on Tower 22 was a pretty significant U.S. casualty. Three killed in action, more than 50 now reporting wounded in action. U.S. intelligence has been blanketing the region, trying to see where the threats are.
Is this Hitler without a mustache?
They're all trying to disguise themselves. They've turned off
this guy
all
looks
their
like
radios.
An elf. Look at his ears.
The Houthis have turned off their radars in particular. But we've been watching them moving. So I won't think that we have lost much in terms of delaying multiple days. If anything, we've added to it because they get them up and running. As Dan very accurately reported, this is going to be a multi-week probably response, hopefully decentralized. It will involve both U.S. Navy and Air Force power. There may well be classified aspects to it. In other words, Delta Force going into Syria or other places and snatching some of these leaders. never mind cyber warfare and economic action. So, as Secretary Austin stated, we got to degrade capabilities and not just do a one-off campaign.
To your point about what Defense Secretary Austin said yesterday, he said specifically, it's time to take away.
This is like a lesson we keep getting forced to learn over and over and over again. We're not interested in learning it. You can't defeat insurgency. It's not possible. You can't.
What
you
insurgency
can't
are we trying to defeat?
Non-existence. We couldn't beat the Taliban. You know, the Taliban took Afghanistan back the nanosecond that we left. We never beat it in Vietnam. The Soviets couldn't beat it in Afghanistan. You know, it just doesn't work. The only reason there's been any effectiveness in pushing back against ISIS in the Middle East is because ISIS is so monstrous and so easy to hate.
No,
they don't do a very good job of embedding themselves in the public.
No. The reason ISIS was destroyed is because the Iraqi and Syrian people destroyed them themselves because they were a foreign ideology. You dumb fuck. Okay, also, side note, I just want to make 2 announcements here real quick. So Lisa Ann, the adult film star, was just arrested for trying to record a comedy show with her phone. It was Matt Rife, I guess. That's why she's being arrested. But also, Killer Mike was arrested at the Grammys tonight.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
Don't know. Mr. Pro Cop himself, you know, lives in Atlanta, won't say shit about Cop City himself.
About Cop City.
Yeah, so I hope he learns. So, you know, maybe now he'll actually say something about the police.
Lisa Ann is getting arrested. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So anyway,
especially the Matt Rife show.
Yeah, she said she was looking at her phone.
Okay.
But yeah, moron, absolute fucking moron. Also, what about al-Qaeda? It's like, do we really like? Oh yeah, sure, they exist in Africa. Like, is al-Qaeda still fucking relevant? Like, when's the next al-Qaeda attack gonna happen, bro? I wonder if something went wrong with the Taliban. What could it be? You know, like, that where we were fighting the Taliban, because it's not like, you know, unlike the Soviets, which only had like basically the support of like communists and like some Hazara and like Dostum, great ally there. We also used him, and then he killed people in fucking shipping containers. But like, I wonder what happened in Afghanistan, right? I wonder what went wrong there. I wonder if there was like a point where the Taliban were almost like virtually destroyed, and then like we decided to just like ignore Afghanistan or something, you know? Like, what happened there? Like, of course the Taliban would still exist after we left Afghanistan, right? Just like ISIS still exists. Right? No shit. Like, of course. Why wouldn't they exist? You think we're going to kill every single member? Or we like even genocidal tactics? We don't know if that can defeat 4th generation armies, because nobody has been able to even fight a 4th generation army except the United States. Spoiler alert. Nobody else has been successful. What about Libya? Who's winning that one? What about Libya? Who's winning there?
Libya.
The insurgents. Which insurgents? Yeah, nobody's winning. Like,
yeah, I'm honestly, Libya is probably one of the countries I know the least about.
Yeah, all that you need to know about is it's Turkey versus Russia.
Also, al-Qaeda is very democratic.
Yeah. Again, I always have to remind people it is more democratic than a lot of countries, bro.
So funny. And they use a decentralized council.
Yeah, and it's like they're still function autonomously. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's almost anarchist.
That's why I say there's a lot of arguments like that, like the fucking Kurdish al-Qaeda Ansar al-Islam. Like, that's his argument, is that for him that al-Qaeda, and this was like before a lot of shit went down, he was talking about how it represented the Bolsheviks before the revolution and the Zionists before the establishment of Israel. Like, it is a force for liberation of Kurds, is how this guy philosophizes it.
Interesting. That's very interesting, because it is very close to the Kurdish ideology, if you really think about it. Not in like,
I mean, that's why they were there. They hated Saddam. They were backing the Kurdish al-Qaeda faction, which isn't technically al-Qaeda, but they also these guys that also eventually became Daesh. So let's be clear about that one. But also Syria is like, all those people were al-Qaeda backed, they're not anymore.
But yeah, it's It's just very interesting when you look into the structure of al-Qaeda, that it is very decentralized. Nobody really puppet strings everything.
Especially now with like even the Saif al-Dal, like he hasn't come forward saying I'm totally the leader. We just assume he is.
Yeah. And when I say it's similar to the Kurdish system, I'm saying everything like political structure wise, not so much the equality for women and that sort of stuff, because obviously they're not that. But like just like the structure of it, the decentralized.
They're the closest thing to a Marxist terrorist revolutionary group.
It's very interesting.
Like if you want to support the Philippine terrorist group, right? Who are like probably the most successful communist terrorist group because they still exist and they're not dealing drugs like fucking FARC and shit. You know, they didn't turn into drug dealers, right?
Yeah,
that's al-Qaeda. They're the closest you can get to a Marxist faction in the Middle East.
Yeah, imagine dropping that in an argument with a Marxist.
I'd like to talk to Lonerbox about it and see his opinion, because he also has very educated, nuanced opinions about these things.
Interesting. I still want to talk to that Ryan Chapman guy. I reckon he'd be a very interesting discussion about ideology. Just talking about countries as they sit right now and where they would sit ideologically, I think would be an interesting.
How do fundamentalist views start changing their views on women's rights? I mean, we're just saying that that the revolutionary ideology is similar between these factions. And honestly, if we're going to talk about actual Marxist revolutionaries, it's obviously the fucking PKK, of course, you know. Yes. But I don't really consider them a Middle Eastern group. It's like West Asia, you know. Middle East is more of like, I don't know, it's like a charged term where we're only talking about a certain type of person, you know, the brown ones, as Hassan would say.
Yeah, it's why I still say that saying nationality is a way better way to go about it. Yeah, he's Kurdish, he's Iranian, Afghan, American. French.
Afghan is a state. The nationalities would be like Tajik, Hazara, Pashtun.
Pashto, yeah. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, like that's Uzbek. Yeah. So I still think that would be a better way to go about it, and
even Iran,
a lot of tension. Yeah, sure.
They would be Persians.
Yeah.
Loris.
Yep.
And then,
as you always say,
and then over here,
Arab. It's a complex area.
You know, ISIS is, I guess, I don't know, toxic or caustic enough that they don't have the ability in many cases to kind of blend into the people in you know, in the countryside as well as like the Taliban does. You know,
what do you mean?
So we can bomb
the
all
Taliban
of these,
literally like basically wear special turbans that say I'm the Taliban, bro. Like there's a
even
specific,
more capability
type of
than
turban
we've taken in the past. Give us a sense of scope. What might that look like?
Well,
and like that's nuts. ISIS not blending in. Where do you think the sleeper cells are? What do you think a sleeper cell is, dude?
It's affecting world
trade. So stupid. Read a fucking book, bro.
I agree with the bombing of the Houthis, but aren't they just insurgents of the Red Sea? No, the Houthis effectively are the government of Yemen. They control the vast majority of the population. They're not an insurgency.
They're not. They do
control the vast majority. They do control the vast majority.
There's two Yemens. There's two Libyas. Simple.
Yes.
It's not that hard to figure out. Two Yemens, two Libyas. Okay, guys, got it? Makes sense to everyone?
4 Syrias.
Pretty much. But I would say 3. But yeah, maybe
4. 3. Sure. It could be liberally applied to 4.
Also, like, we're not trying to defeat. The point of striking them isn't to defeat the insurgency there, even if there was one. It's to keep them from doing random pirates.
Nope. How many Myanmars? Right now, 1. But there's a lot of ethnic groups there. But that's a different thing, because like Yemen is deadlocked. Like the sides are figured out, the borders are drawn. Like we just need to fucking draw the fucking line. All right, just to draw the fucking line. We know exactly. We all know it exists, and Libya's the same way. Go look at the meme of like the Arab Spring meme map, and it's like shows that it's like Libya split. You know what the map I'm talking about? How to
I have no
understand
idea.
the Arab Spring? I'll pull it up.
I actually have no idea. I've never looked into the Arab Spring.
I've shown you said the same thing when I asked you about the map last time.
Did you show me the map last time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, show me the map. I might recognize it. I don't remember this map at all. Because if I don't like have a week where I'm intaking information about a topic, I don't
Arab
really
Yugoslavia, Bugs Bunny, evil drag queen. Makes sense?
I don't remember this map at all. Wait,
See?
I do. I remember the ball.
U.S. charity base, British charity base, French charity base, right? And then these are money strikes. But these are airstrikes. See, money strikes go here, airstrikes go here because this is the evil drag queen. Makes sense? Everyone got it?
Saudi, Texas. Tribal Fury.
See, but they don't have this
Referee.
This was made before the Yemen shit started, and that's not also not even like the Arab Spring, you know.
That's
this
hilarious.
is the great. It says the great, like something like, you know, just like how this is because it's Italy. They're pushing out to Italy.
Yeah,
great. I can't read this too. Riot police headquarters. That's funny because, you know, Algeria is like known for like oppressing their people brutally. We have a video on this. You know, it's the history of Islamic fundamentalism. We talk about the Black Decade. It's one of the most underknown like wars. Even finding like research and pictures and videos on it, unlike anything else, there's like none. It's like fucking trying to find videos of Eritrea, bro. Actually, I can find more videos of Eritrea than the Black Decade. It's wild.
Interesting, you know. Okay, but they
which
control,
Libya
like,
does
the
the dirty
territory
work for the EU?
Oh, that's the evil drag queens, I would imagine.
Well, it's both because Greece is allied with one, but Italy doesn't care as long as they're killing migrants before they get to the water.
Before they get there.
The water, as in Italy's water.
Ah, right.
Contains 80%
also this map, it's pointing to Lebanon. It says Haiti.
Control the power. They control the important part of Yemen. You're correct, but to be fair, the British defeated insurgency in Malaysia.
Suez Canal losing revenue. So what you do about the Houthis is hard to program. You know, you got about a third of the country. It's a Shia militia organization, very closely allied with Iran. It's got some
Malaya back then, now Malaysia. Another gap in my knowledge.
I love how this guy described
US military forces struck targets in Iraq and Syria that the IRGC and affiliated militia used to attack U.S. forces. We do not see conflict in the Middle East or anywhere.
Vaush is totally like not even listening to like the great points that the guy actually just made. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear how he described them? That's probably the best description of the Houthis that I've heard tonight. He said it's a third of the country and they're close to Iran. Not backed by Iran or anything stupid like that.
Yeah, because everybody says backed.
Mm-hmm. They're independent.
You always say no.
They're independent. It's like Israel is backed by America. It like implies that they fucking own them. No, Israel is independent. They're supported. They're close with America.
Okay.
We will respond, which guarantees inevitable conflict because as long as we're here, we will inflame like insurgent response to our presence, which means that we'll always be doing this back and forth forever and ever 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 and ever.
Where's here? Jordan? As long as we're in Jordan, people are going to get mad.
Really
we don't
significant weapon.
Like, does this dude really think the U.S. is in Iraq and Syria, and then sit here and has the gall to say that like he like likes the Kurds and shit, and like the Kurds are based and shit, and he has the gall to say that like he's gonna fucking like see a Syrian girl tweet about how America has occupied their oil fields, and he's gonna be like, yeah, she's so right. The Houthis are fucking huge. Like they do a lot of CG enhancement, but just look up a military parade by them. If you look too hard, you'll see that there are Chechnya does this too. They digitally put in more soldiers than are actually in the crowd. But yeah, like the Houthis are huge, massive military. They are like more than just like a terrorist militia. And that's why I don't think they deserve to be described as a terrorist group. They are a legitimate military. Like they're just a non-state actor. with a military. I mean, what is the SDF? Are they not a non-state actor with a military? A lot of people would call them terrorists. Turkey.
Just one more decade of Middle Eastern occupation, guys. Just one more guys, trust me, bro. We only need one more decade of being stationed in the Middle East, okay? Just one more, and we'll finally be done.
Where?
You want to tell you?
Where?
Everywhere.
We have been wanting to do a Chechnya video. It's just there's people who are like experts. It's just hard to wrangle them down. Like there's one guy. He doesn't have the best opinions, but he specializes in like Georgia and Chechnya, and he lives in Georgia. And
I would like to talk to someone who lived through it. But
there's a guy who he's a war blogger who just does like videos of the Chechen War and stuff.
Actually, you know what?
I mean, I've talked to people who were in the war, but that was a different time.
I'll ask my Uzbek friend who has a Georgian friend if she knows any Chechens.
I mean,
that lived through the war.
We can get them. It's just that it's a hard one because there's so few of them, and then you have to make sure it's the right kind of person.
Yeah.
But also, what occupation? What occupation? Where? The 7 people we have in Yemen right now?
Occupied.
Is that an occupation? Where is the occupation in the Middle East by us?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Are we just not acknowledging Kurdish territory and Kurdish sovereignty? Jordan doesn't have the right to ask for support on fighting back against a group, ISIS, who was founded to destroy Jordan. Like, the goal was to expand the Iraq Civil War into Jordan. That was Zarqawi's stated goal. That's why they bombed the Jordanian embassy first. That was the calling card to show they were there through an MMA lens. Well, what's interesting is like we really like this this Chechen commander who fought against Assad, and they associated him with terrorists and stuff. And both his brothers are MMA fighters, and he's in Ukraine now, killing Russians.
Fuck yeah! How do you want me to word this tweet?
To who?
To Vaush.
that he's what occupation? Hi, Vaush. He needs to apologize to the entire Kurdish nation.
I'm gonna tag you. I'm like, you and I would like to know whether you're able to clarify where the United States is occupying the Middle East. Also,
is it the 7 people in Yemen that are uninvited? Like, are these covert operations? If so, who is Iran occupying the Middle East? Do you think this dude really fucking thinks that the only reason Iran is occupying Iraq and Syria is because the US is there? Why is the US there? Because ISIS is there, supposedly.
So I said, is Iran occupying the Middle East?
Is Russia occupying the Middle East?
Clarify, please. Also,
is Turkey
apologize to the nation,
the entire Kurdish nation, for for saying that they're occupied and they don't have sovereignty over themselves, and implying that they're subjects of the states of Iraq and Syria.
There's not enough space.
Yeah, summarize it. Implying that they're subjects of the states of Iraq and Syria.
Apologize to...
He won't respond.
No, there's no way.
But everyone go share and like this tweet, and then be like, yeah, Vaush. Yeah, Vaush.
I'll retweet it with the 5th gen account.
Yeah, so then we'll find it from there. We have made it 12 minutes into this. You need to hit play on this, bro.
Ballistic and drone missiles, and it definitely can strike in this very constrained waterway, international shipping. That one's a real challenge. I think the terrorist organizations in both Syria and Iraq, it'll have to be over time. We'll just have to watch for them. Every time they move, they'll get struck. But even there, we have
It's like the U.S. wants Iran to have nukes. Yeah, Iran is probably going to have nuclear weapons, possibly more than one within the decade.
No.
And after that, I don't know what we're going to do.
No.
Like once they have nukes, it's in all likelihood, assuming we even have a democracy within which people will be debating the issue, there are going to be people screaming that we need to invade them now because the one nuke they have isn't big enough to end the world, so we have to go in now or whatever. Bosch put the hyperbole. We're not starting an invasion or occupation.
Hey,
you're right. We're not starting an invasion or occupation.
Who was that guy who was building nukes and had a whole nuclear facility, was openly constructing nukes, and then another country hit those targets? What country was that? And who hit those targets? Do you remember, Jack? What was that? Oh, that's right. It was Saddam Hussein, and Israel bombed him, eliminating his nuclear capability. Do we honestly believe that Israel is not going to fucking immediately bomb Iran nuclear facilities if they actually exist? They don't. Iran doesn't have the capability to make nukes. This is just a fucking U.S. talking point to justify a lot of shit. And Iran wants to look powerful. They had a nuclear program being developed under the Shah, right? So it's like saying that Iran is going to fucking develop F-22s because they have fucking F-14s, bro. It's not going to fucking happen. Like, if anything, they would be making chemical weapons if they were interested in pursuing a weapon of mass destruction. And if they really, really wanted a nuke, they would fucking get one from Pakistan or China, because it could be swindled that way. And if Iran has nukes, that's how they will get nukes, is they will be purchased. Korea might do it too. Like North Korea, they're a wild card, you know?
Doing an occupation. That is correct. The military bases that we're getting struck in have been there for decades. Yeah, we're not starting anything. Nothing here is new. That being said, once Iran does have nuclear weapons, there are going to be voices screaming out for us to like invade now, like before they get a second one or whatever. One nuke doesn't do that much damage.
It's almost like there's
and
voices
modern
crying out to invade
anti-air
them
defense
already.
systems, it's reasonably likely that a single missile could be stopped, or at least there's a chance of it. So hey, might as well go in now where they only have one. If you wait for them to get 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 100,
or you just bomb a lot harder. Does this dude not know how nukes work and how they're built?
I don't think so.
Where are they getting the enriched uranium? First of all, like the inspectors, the UN showed that they had enriched uranium, right?
It was under the level that they agreed upon too.
Yeah, and the JOPCA or something like that, JSOC, or maybe JSOC is
JPCOA.
Yeah, JSOC is Joint Chief Command or something. Anyway, so they eliminated the fucking nuclear ability they had been building up since the fucking 70s in that deal, right? And we think they're just gonna get it all over again. Here's Netanyahu being like, Iran will have a bomb tomorrow. They literally said that Iran was gonna have a bomb in 2 weeks, like 3 years ago. And every now and then I go, when was Iran supposed to get that nuke?
I remember the news articles.
Yes, I know, right? Like Mossad has it fucking literally drove up and fucking clapped these Iranian nuclear scientists right on the street, and like, because Iran is so stupid that they killed all the fucking intelligent people. Like, what scientists, what college is going to train them in the nuclear science to produce these nukes? Like, can we just, here's Vaush, here's a lesson in critical thinking. Vaush himself, not even using his fucking brain to do critical thinking and falling for this fucking literal state rhetoric that is so obvious.
Usual problem. Iraq vehemently opposes any U.S. military action inside Iraq. We're there, 2,500 troops, with part of the international coalition, counter ISIS in nature, at the request of the Iraqi government. So
we've said it. They're not in Iraq.
It's not going for nukes, but they are. Let's be realistic here. U.S. intelligence assessment says Iran is not pursuing nuclear weapons at the moment, but has ramped up activities that could help it develop them. They're literally building like a deep, like under the mountain, top secret nuclear facility. You know, like it's difficult for them to actually get on the process because Mossad assassinating their scientists. Yeah, of course.
Oh, look, bro literally pulls up an article telling him he's wrong and being like, I think this article is wrong. And my conspiracy about how they have a fucking mountain fortress.
The Islamic regime can't even make fighter jets of the modern era. They're making not even last generation fighter jets. And you think that they're going to be able to bore into a mountain and build a base to build nuclear bombs there? Do you know how technically advanced boring into mountains is?
This is the shit, Vaush. This is what we're talking about. This stupidity. Remember this, guys? Oh, look, it's the Tora Bora secret chemical and nuclear weapons factory that they carved out of a fucking mountain. They really printed this.
That's awesome. Like the technological level that you need to be able to bore through a mountain and build a base under it is insane.
Yeah, and then also, well, I mean, ISIS actually did build, like, they had, like, pretty elaborate, like also like you look at the PKK, they have mountain fortresses and as well. So like it's like so
but
like
how long were they built over? The Kurdish ones have probably been built over centuries.
Well, they have like you can look online. There's people who post about it and show their tunnels excavating and stuff. It's not necessarily that hard. But like to get to the scale where you have a fucking nuclear facility, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like nuclear, like facility level under the under a
the
mountain
enrichment process alone.
Yeah, like the amount of electricity that they would have to generate to power the thing. On top of that, making it, building it, fucking running it. It would be so obvious. It would be the most obvious thing you've ever seen. The amount of mining equipment they would need.
If the nuclear deal comes back into place, there's no reason to pull out of it, right? It's stupid. They already destroyed their shit, right? So that's another argument. It's like, well, they already destroyed it. Why honor it? Well, why not monitor it?
Yeah, exactly.
Remember how we did that with Saddam, and then we told the UN that they were lying, and we invaded anyway?
Yeah, fun times.
But that's because the current Iraqi government isn't really popular or legitimate. You know, like we kind of prop them up. The current Iraqi government.
What are you talking about?
Obviously, if we prop a government up, they're going to want us to stay because we're the
you're so stupid.
But that's the whole point, right? We can't just go in and prop up a government. We tried to do this.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude. The fucking Iranian-backed IRGC fucking government running Iraq that everyone fucking hates is backed by the U.S. You nailed it, dude. Foreign policy expert. Also, the fucking people who are in there on request by the Iraqi government, like the dude said, they're fucking map nerds who are fucking pointing at maps for the Iraqi government. They're not fucking people who know how to fire a fucking gun, bro.
That's not fair. Some of them joined the Taliban. Yes, that's true. Some of them joined the Taliban. That's true. The real dogs. What about the Kurdish in Syria? Yeah, that's a difficult thing. But like again, what about all the people who got taken over by the Taliban? Right? So our removing ourselves from the situation will lead to people getting hurt. It would suck to lose Rojava. I feel like the best thing we could do for them would be to get Turkey's hands.
You literally just said it. You don't give a fuck about these people. You literally just said it.
It's off of them, you know? Like if there was some way of just flat, like incredibly harsh diplomacy with Turkey to get them to fuck off. Because I feel like there's a decent chance that Rojava could actually hold its own if it wasn't for Turkey, right? Like the Syrian army clearly can't just wipe out Rojava.
Find him on camera talking about how we need to get rid of Erdogan and how Turkey is
talking to the microphone.
Like literally, Joe Biden is the most anti-Erdogan guy out there. He fucking hates Erdogan openly. He literally talks about how we need to get rid of Erdogan, not through a coup, but through the electoral process, and we're going to empower the Kurdish people who are in the government to help them rise up. Like
Turkey also funds jihadist militias. Well, Erdogan is evil, so well, we'll see what happens after Iran gets their nukes. Iran is pursuing research and development activities that would bring it closer to producing the fissile material needed for completing a nuclear device following a decision to do so.
Closer to producing
in that regard, Iran continues to violate the terms of the 2015 nuclear deal regarding uranium enrichment.
Producing the fissile material. Do you understand that means fucking nothing? Like, oh, they have magnets. You know, they figured out how magnets work.
We made the deal and then left. Why? How is that them? We broke the contract. In addition to the nuclear findings, the U.S. intel report said that Iranian ballistic missile programs continue to pose a significant threat to countries around the Middle East. Iran has emphasized improving the accuracy, lethality, and reliability of yeah, and even I think that the ability to stop ICBMs is necessarily a technology we want, right? Mutually assured destruction is kind of the thing that kept the Cold War from going hot. Nice to see the Supreme Leader Ayatollah practicing good COVID mask.
What are we serious? Are we serious? Can you go 5 seconds without saying something incredibly stupid? Are you fucking kidding me, bro? The mutually assured destruction kept the Cold War from going hot. Literally everyone, Kennedy came in and looked at Eisenhower's plan, and it was like, just like, here's where to bomb Russia. And everyone was talking about how fucking insane he was. What are you fucking talking about?
Expensive and somewhat beyond me.
You know, Secretary Blinken made every
taboo. Mr. Intelligent here.
Facing renewed challenges. The good news, we're not going into Iran with strikes yet.
General McCaffrey, can you give us a sense of how you...
Yet. I sure hope we don't. It would be bad if we did that.
We do. We do it. Literally, we just watched a video where Petraeus said it indirectly.
Yeah, the covert strikes.
To some extent, you simply have to respond.
He just said, all he said is they won't be over.
Well, thanks. A good question. What is success in this instance?
All Petraeus said is they're not overt strikes that we've done.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
Yeah.
We haven't done overt strikes.
Yeah.
What does success look like, bro? You sorry? Are you
Mark
implying there was any
was turning it
timeline
down
where we
so we
didn't
don't
do
be
this?
paused
You know,
by
like
the way.
wait. We don't. Do we need a reason?
Listening to people say, well, now they've killed some U.S. soldiers. Now we got to act. We've had 160 some odd strikes on U.S. forces.
Keep in mind, a lot of these strikes are incredibly ineffective, which is the reason why only now there have been deaths. Like a strike will be some Iranian-backed militia will fire a bottle rocket and it'll land a quarter mile
They're
from
not
the
trying to
outermost
kill
fence
us.
of the base. You know, it's there's a reason we
Almost
haven't been
like
hearing
they
about
fucked
service
up.
deaths prior to this.
You simply cannot take away the inherent right of self-defense and immediate action and decentralized responses.
Oh, great. So he doesn't have it. So he's not even going to answer the question, what does success look like? He's just going to be, we have a right to defend ourselves. Literally the Zionist answer, you know? Yeah, well, you gotta, you know, what does success look like? Is there any good outcome here? Outcomes.
Yes.
We're just doing it, man.
Literally the best
If you're gonna
possible
keep military
response we could
forces
get from
deployed.
Iran happened. So shut the fuck up.
Why do you do that then?
Those days are behind us, and we'll now have a more active protection of the forces themselves.
You mean
You know how many
striking
times
first?
people-
Like snaky.
You can't
Holden
shoot
blood
to
piece
Iran.
ass
You
motherfucker.
can't kill Iran.
You know,
You
it's
can't
like
do
everything
this
that he
to Iran.
says is just
You'll
coded
never
like
stop.
hawkish
You'll
militarism. I mean,
never,
obviously,
you'll never
right? But just,
say,
you know,
hey, guys,
it's not
calm me
even
down. You'll never
sincere.
draw back. Well,
The
they did.
important question you raise is, what is the strategic purpose for these deployments?
What does success actually look like in this scenario? It doesn't. This
It
scenario
looks like
is
what
doomed to fail.
exactly
I
what
just want
happened,
to see him admit
actually.
it. He won't, but I'll get mad at him for
Yeah.
it. You know?
Actually, his success
Like, you can
happened.
say it's also an unwinnable
We did
situation.
it, and we're going to
But there
keep
is no
bombing
success
them,
in this scenario.
even though they're like already
And we're going
making
to have to
concessions.
rethink that, because bombing
It's almost like
militia
before
units
this
and,
happened,
Shia militia units
we
in
were
Iraq is not a
negotiating
long-term
deals with
solution to
Iran,
anything.
and then like
I get a
October
sense of
7th
what those
happened and
conversations
suspended
look like
those
when
What
you're
deals
he's
for a
saying is
while.
we need to bomb
And
Iran.
Iran
Look at
actually
this guy's
wants to
going
like
blind.
move forward
This guy's
because they
dying
know
live in front of
that
the
like
camera.
moving
Please,
forward
let me
with
see
the
the burning
United States
flesh
is
one
going to
last time before
expand
I
their
die.
pressure
Please
in
go
the
ahead.
region and will allow them to expand that pressure if they make certain concessions, because we really don't care. I mean, we fucking are allied with Saudi Arabia and Israel and Egypt.
How many times will they happen in the next few days? What are the data points?
Vaush, what do you think Biden should do in response to the killing of our soldiers there? Iran puts us in an extraordinary difficult position. We put Iran in a difficult position. Why do we have so many
How?
bases there?
How?
Why do we invade
How do we
Iraq
put
and
Iran in a
Afghanistan? We
difficult
need to
position
leave.
when we're in Jordan?
Sorry, there's no like politically easy solution to this.
Where are our bases in Iran,
You know,
Bosch?
holy
Where
shit,
are our
this
bases?
is just going to keep happening over and
Iran
over
has
and over.
fucking
The most
Hezbollah and
charitable
IRGC
answer
in
that I can come up
Mexico.
with is just that
They
withdrawing,
literally,
you
a
know,
report
process
just
of
came
border
out
withdrawal
that they
and
fucking
influence in the
used
region,
Canadian
which is
Hells
what
Angels
Biden
to
is
kill
doing
people
by
in this
winning the
country.
winning this upcoming
Where are we
presidential
doing that,
election. Even assuming
bro?
he does do that, I don't think he's actually going to go through with it. So whatever. It's just like an infinite, like it's just nothing gets solved, you know?
They will be looking for.
Well, that national security
Hot take. America should have never left Afghanistan or Iraq. Yeah, hot, like a big steaming pile of shit. That's true.
Council meets
so
at
now we're
various
not in
levels of officialdom, you know, from the three-star Pentagon level, is whole of government, State Department, Treasury, Department of Homeland Security, all of them are involved. This is going on day and night, 7 days a week, trying to manage really the top current defense challenge to the United States. By the time an issue gets to the NSC, there are no good options. Everything you're considering has unpalatable implications. What happens after we take this action? That's why I think wisely they're publicly signaling we're not going to go after Iran yet. Iran is the centerpiece, orchestrating funding, training, equipping,
and
Yeah.
tag Vaush going, hey Vaush, hey Vaush.
Apologize to Kurdistan, Vaush. Just
Yeah, seriously.
of the domination of the Sunni Muslim population. So it's not going to go away with this current air campaign. We're in a
The next
long-term,
Senator, bro, the
complex,
vein is
dangerous
too hot.
situation that we have to
Coming.
face up to.
What is this oh poor Iran dialogue from Vaush? No one in the Middle East likes them. Lol, the Iranian government is not some hero.
Thank you.
What are you talking about? No, what arguments? are you
You're right.
projecting onto this?
You're
I don't
wrong.
even know what you're
Get
responding
over
to.
it, bro.
Oh,
You're
poor
not a
Iran?
fucking
This is
expert
just
on
about we
things you
shouldn't
don't know
have
what the
like
fuck you're
indefinite
talking
military
about.
occupation
Mister,
of the
I'm
region.
an
It
expert
clearly
on
does nothing to
everything.
exacerbate conflict. But that has nothing to
Stop
do
being
with
a
oh, poor
fucking
Iran.
idiot and read a fucking book. You know what? I had a joke conversation with your father, Vaush, about reading books, right? And I basically was like, I don't read. I just listen to Vaush video to his dad, and your dad told me reading is important because then you'll like get into like some funnel or something.
You think
And I
there's no
said,
Iranian
I don't
government
read
that's
books. I
gonna
just
stop
read
Iran
boring
watching Iran
government
TV? Yeah,
documents.
that's not even speculative or whatever. Yeah, you can just look at that. Absolutely. Iran has for decades now based a lot of it. Well, the Iranian government has based a lot of
Ironically,
its
his
legitimacy
dad
on
is a lot
scaremongering over
smarter and
American
cooler
intervention in
than
the Middle
him.
East.
His dad
Fear
should be the
mongering,
one streaming,
because we
bro.
did that. We did do that. That's not, American intervention in the Middle East isn't like a fantasy or whatever. That is a real thing that we did and do.
Okay, is it intervention or occupation?
And they're right to. You know what? As bad as the Iranian government is, the broader proxy military war they fight against us is, realistically, given the situation, given real politics, probably the most base thing they could do. Keep in mind, their country, we squatted on them until the Iranian Revolution. We killed their leaders. We've backed out of our deals. We've broken our contracts with them.
Crazy.
We have invaded and occupied. We've built military bases all around the region. We've put pressure on them. Our politicians scream bloody murder about invading Iran, and they have been for decades. All of that, and anyone thinks it's a surprise that they're funding, militia groups that are
how about that one, bro?
For Islamic jihadists, anti-Western military forces fighting against regional interests. Given everything going on, of course that's going to happen. It's like you'd have to be like a child with the naivete to believe elsewise. Our presence there wasn't going to inflame tensions constantly. The only way through this is to leave, and maybe if we do intentions settle, we can talk things out with Iran. The people of Iran.
I was going to make fun of him when we looked at Jake Sullivan, and he basically be like, "How does this dude have a job?" We'll do it next time we do the State of the Union. But Jake Sullivan literally wrote a book about how the Middle East was better than ever, and then Hamas did October 7th. Really, things have not escalated at all, except in fucking Israel. That's it. There's some bombings in Yemen that are slightly unusual, and that has to do in relation to Israel. These attacks don't, even though people want to link them together. Nothing unusual is happening in the Middle East besides stuff related to October 7th, which might end by the end of the year.
When I say this or in what context, there's always going to be that argument, But past a point, you have to look beyond that. You have to put the pressure on. And publicly being anti-Middle East intervention, that is one of the ways you can make it less politically unpopular. Think of how much more isolationist America pretends to be today than it did 20 years ago.
So,
nowadays, the American population
people die from ISIS. Okay, got it. Let people die from Iran. Got it. Okay. Human rights bad.
A lot of that is because
protecting shipping lanes and capitalism good.
Iraq and Afghan wars have
it's one of the few good things
Americans
you can defend America for is helping people fight
One
ISIS.
of the ways you do that is by being loud and obnoxious about how bad our presence there is, which is what I'm doing. Biden's not going to listen to me, right? He doesn't watch my streams, to my knowledge. I wish he did. He'd be, a better president. I can't force policy here, but I do want people to know there is
subtitles. Just say the subtitles.
No, go back.
I can't force policy here, but I do want people to know there is no good version of events where we stay in the Middle East. That's what I want. That's what I'm doing right now. To all the liberals who watch me, to all the people, all the Canadians who got mad at me for thinking Trudeau was unjustified in freezing bank assets of protesters, even if the protesters were nasty. To all the liberals who think that Biden is doing the best job he can, or who think that my statements on Israel and genocide are overstated.
I think I was right on other stuff, and that means I'm also therefore right on stuff.
I just want you to know
none of this
contrarian.
I read an article saying it's not happening.
In Afghanistan for a little while.
You literally were. It's the AP. You could not have got a better source. This dude will. If you put anything from Pew Research in front of him, he'll instantly believe it. But an AP article talking about how they don't have fissile material, nonsense. They have a Tora Bora cave built by Bin Laden himself, bro. They got his fucking construction equipment over from Afghanistan after we were done building the roads.
Things play out how they play out, and we have an incredibly strong, reliable, repeatable formula proving to us that every fucking time we meddle around down there, we make things worse. So let's stop. Let's stop doing that.
Where is it worse?
Let's stop.
Where is it worse? Where is it worse?
Let's stop. Let it be over. It's time to stop. How about our intervention in Libya against Gaddafi?
Is Iraq worse now than under Saddam? Is Iraq worse now than when Zarqawi was around? Is Iraq worse now when al-Qaeda was there? Is Iraq worse now than when ISIS was there?
Then what? The entire region explodes due to the power vacuum? It's
now
not a power
Syria
vacuum.
is a shithole. Is Syria a shithole because America is there or another country?
Barren wasteland that we
like
Which country is that?
Vacuum. Iran, Saudi Arabia.
Ah, you got it.
It's not a vacuum. There are things there. A vacuum is defined by an absence of matter in a space. There's matter there. Big matter.
Iran is kind of a war hawk. That, the war on terror was a fucking disaster, and just leave it at that, and just be and just acknowledge that it's fucking over.
No, then Ukraine is not your business either. Yes, it is, because our supplying munitions and support to Ukraine isn't destabilizing the entire region. It's preventing destabilization. outcomes-based
God, bro.
Remember,
This
our presence in
dude
the Middle East has done nothing but perpetuate these
driving me
issues.
crazy.
Again,
Okay, it's
that
preventing
was a good
destabilization,
take.
but you literally just said that you don't give a fuck about Iran and ISIS taking over the area of the Middle East. Is that not destabilization?
We should only help the countries that are useful.
What's that going to do to the fucking
talking
oil
about?
prices?
They
How do you
said
think
our
that's going to
presence
affect people?
or
It's
involvement
going to
in
affect
the
people a
Ukraine
lot
war
more than
produces
fucking
good
Ukraine
outcomes,
being
and our
taken over.
involvement in the Middle
As far
East
as the
produces
global
bad
economy
outcomes.
goes,
What does this have to do with countries that are useful to us? You're all like 17.
What did
Where's
Jordan
this
do to
attachment
you,
coming
bro?
from? I point to the formula, chat. Western intervention in the Middle East produces bad outcomes. Like,
Okay,
like consistently. I don't know how many examples you need.
Is
There
it
are a
intervention or
couple of times
occupation?
we've done stuff there that's defensible. I think the Gulf War is
Yeah,
an example.
like
It's
having a
complicated,
base
but I
in
think there's,
Jordan
like, a
that
defensible
they
element
asked
to
us
that, but
to be
enough
there
plenty of
for
other
to
ways
help
too.
them fight
But
ISIS.
consistently, our interventions there have just been bad. Why don't we not militarily intervene and rather treat the countries there like regular
What about the
countries we can do
time
diplomacy
when
with? What we should
Russia
have been doing
sent
with Iran a
Wagner to
long
that
time
oil
ago.
field?
So if
Was
the
that
occupation
bad?
had gone
When
well
we
in Iraq or
fucking killed all
Afghanistan,
those
Is that when
Russians?
America
depending on what you mean by
clapped
well, yes.
Yeah, when we
If
killed all
things
those
go well,
Russians,
that
was
means
that
the
bad?
outcome was good, and utilitarian
Would
moral
you
framework
think
good
it was? Do
outcomes
you think it
usually
was
means the action
bad
was
that
morally
we
good.
didn't give rebels in
I don't
Syria
understand,
guns
Vaush, but for
and
example,
let
the
a
whole Houthi
genocide
movement in Iran
happen?
was
Do you think
being
that was
unrest
bad?
in Yemen.
Not
Obviously,
intervening
if the
there?
US in the case of it was to help, there would be nice.
Are we just going to be like
You
George
want us to
Bush
put boots on
got
the
us
ground
into
in
two
Yemen?
dumbass wars
Lily Krem, think for a second what you're talking
that were
about,
fought
okay?
wrong
Saudi Arabia
with
has
third
been bombing
generation
the Houthis
tactics?
for a decade, and all it did was make more Houthis. What do you? No, stop. This is
Did he say
when you're the
who did
global
he? Hang on.
empire.
Can we go
Every
back? Who did
problem
he say
looks
bombed
like
the
a
Houthis?
drone strike target. Calm
Need to know
down.
who
What
he
do you
said.
mean? What are we doing to help them? Looks like no, stop. This is wait. Lily Krem, think for a second what you're talking about. Okay, Saudi Arabia has
Thank
been
God he
bombing the
said Saudi
Houthis for a
Arabia.
decade,
Thank
and all
God.
it did was make more Houthis. What do you?
Thank
No,
God.
stop. This is when you're the global
Gee, it's
empire.
almost like Saudi
Every
Arabia
problem looks like a
is
drone strike target.
now like allied
Calm
with the
down.
Houthis.
What do you
won't
mean?
even work with us to
What are we
fight
doing
them.
to help Yemen? First, we could lift sanctions and let them eat would be nice. Like what? Just invade Yemen? What else? Bangladesh. Do you have problems? Invade. I don't know. We'll fix something.
What is
Sri Lanka?
Why are we picking on Bangladesh now? What did
Why not?
Bangladesh do?
We've got money. Vaush,
Have a look at what I
screw over our
retweeted the
defenseless
stream
allies
with.
like the Saudi
No, I
monarch.
see it. It's open. I have my
Ironically,
Twitter open.
yes. Vaush, again, Vietnam flawlessly proves your point. Look at what occurred there. We have significantly closer ties and a better relationship with them after we left, something that would have never occurred if we stayed forever. No. I think the outcome, sure, right now we may be close allies with Vietnam, and Vietnam has had an economic boom, and the population there is happier than they have been in a long time. But I think things would have been better if we'd stayed another 50 years, I think that would have worked. We should have just stayed there for 50 years and destabilized the whole region by proxy
the Iraq
as we forced
invasion was bad. So Iraq invasion bad, Vietnam invasion bad. Therefore, everything that the Americans do in the entire South China Sea must be bad, as well as the Middle East, right? Is that the logic we're using here?
I think so.
And we leave, and what happened to Vietnam? It stabilized. In the absence of America,
oh my God!
the great
Wait till
Satan,
you hear.
the pig
Wait
dog
till you hear about
KKK
how stable
whackers,
the countries
crackers,
in the Middle East
in
are.
their
Believe it or
absence,
not,
things got
except
better.
for Syria.
Why are there like 500
Even
economic
fucking
sanctions?
Lebanon is
I just don't
stable.
think
It's just their
liberals understand-
economy.
This is very much like a materialist analysis thing. I don't think a
Iran
lot of
is
liberals
certainly
understand
stable
that
because we're not doing anything to stop it
having
there.
all the power in the world, which America does not mean you can just solve these problems.
All the power in
Problems
the
like
world.
this
Yeah,
are
we
built
sure
up
do, bro.
through a really complicated combination of local material forces. It's the same. It's exactly the same force that made ISIS. When we caused a power vacuum by invading Iraq, we made the power
ISIS
vacuum,
was created in '95. You dumb fuck.
and that's what led to ISIS. All of the hyper
chinchillas.
radicalized Islamic insurgency shit, ISIS, Boko Haram, a lot of it is downstream of actions we took. We haven't stabilized the region at all. We haven't even meaningfully corrected a power vacuum. We killed Saddam Hussein, and he was a bastard.
No, we didn't.
Now there is a real power
we
vacuum.
did not.
Now people think we should.
Brock.
Imagine that, bro.
Stay in
Literally,
Iraq and
a
protect them
country
against
does
Iran?
its own fucking execution, and now it's our fucking fault because we arrested them and handed them over properly for a trial that they held. We had nothing to do with. We let them try, like they did their sham trial to fucking hang them, right?
Against the other regional.
And guess who says we shouldn't have?
Why?
Guess who says it?
Who said what?
Nur Maliki. Nur Maliki says we should have let Saddam live. Why did he say that? Why do you think Iran is against hanging Saddam? Isn't that weird?
Very weird. Considering that he was the one attacking them. How strange.
It's almost like they don't believe in anything and they're just taking a position.
Building up a local government. Clearly, it's not very liked or powerful. Just forever and ever and ever. Doesn't killing them make the U.S. responsible for defending them? No. What? No. Then the problem never fixes. Then it's just forever. If making a mistake earlier doesn't justify making more or like indefinitely committing to them.
I got a question. Pause for a second because I really want to analyze this question. All right. Let this poor video buffer for a second, right? What about the camps? Have you done any reporting on the raids that have been going on in these ISIS camps? Have you seen they just pulled a Yazidi and she had a whole family. They just found her in these camps that they're able to pull out because the camps are so overflowed that there's literally women who have been missing for a decade that we have found in these camps. And it happens every time the SDF goes into these camps, these ISIS camps, and these camps are full. Who's helping them? How about that? Why are we going to advocate for good things to happen? How about we talk about America dropping the ball and being a fucking piece of shit there? That they rather just have them go execute all the fucking Daeshi. They're not going to fucking take ownership of their own citizens that are in there. Britain isn't going to do shit. The UN told them that they're not going to help them try these people because Syria is not a country. Well, Northeast Syria is not a country, right?
Insane.
Right? What are we doing about that? Literal ISIS camps ready to break out again. Like, we could leave if... what if we cleared out those camps? What if we put those people in actual fucking jails where they won't be tortured? And they repatriated to Iraq, and they wouldn't even give these ISIS fighters to Iraq unless Iraq promised not to execute them. That's the standard these people have, right? And it's not like these camps are humane. These camps are extremely inhumane. Everyone in them are not necessarily guilty. It's like some of them are just women who were part of the caliphate, right? They didn't really commit any crime. They're accessories to genocide, technically. What do we do with that? Do we care about that? Or do we only care about the fucking base in Jordan? How about the damage we did there by not fucking helping people uphold international law and actually bring due process to the most democratic region in the Middle East?
Yeah. Insane. Insanely bad take.
Retaliation? Yeah, well, yeah, if there are specific compromised individuals, then sure, we can give them a flight, over to the States. Sure, we should have done that in Afghanistan more. Yeah. What if you have a case like Syria where Russia intervenes? Should we operate as a counterweight to support Rojava and FSA? I'm just very confused on this. I don't understand what about this is confusing, but look at how fucking weak Syria is. They can't even control, the entirety of their own territory. Do you really think Syria is going to be a regional hegemon? They're so incompetently managed. They caused a generational defining refugee crisis.
What do you think?
I really don't think that Syria is at risk of disrupting the broader power vacuum.
Is it going to be people who control Iraq?
We should do it legitimately.
You think there might be something going on there?
Not by just having U.S.
Just wait. You know what's going to be great? When a fucking war starts between Iran and Turkey and Article 5 triggers. Won't that be great, Vaush?
Yeah, that'll be great.
Well, we've done it before. I don't understand what's difficult about this. Guys, we are destabilizing the region. That is what is causing these problems. You guys, you're literally scratching a sore on your body. Why won't this wound heal? Because you keep scratching it. No shit. You're doing the thing that is making the region like this. And you're like, no, the only way to fix it and to alleviate the consequences of us doing the initial thing is to keep doing the initial thing. Sorry for the question, Sam, but do you think countries like the US should get involved
invading
in
Iraq?
Human rights violations?
Are we invading Iraq again?
Or a coalition unites on some specific issue. Yeah, I think we should have.
I guess it's occupying Afghanistan.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe.
That
okay, so we intervened on the Rwanda genocide, but caused genocides in the Middle East by not intervening now.
Yeah, great. To an extent. Because ISIS is not
I'm not saying that
active,
I'm opposed to that necessarily, but that's not what we're doing here. Should we exercise more soft power in the region or just be totally hands off? We just do diplomacy, just regular diplomacy would be nice. Shouldn't we invade Pakistan instead? Sure, if you want to, sure. Vaush, that just means any country that's friends with a member of the UN Security Council just gets to commit genocide. They can just block the vote. That's not always what happens, but yes, potentially that is a weakness. In the UN, it's not like I'm a fan of the UN. I think there are instances where it can be justified. You can get some kind of multilateral agreement. Okay, do we do it? Have we addressed all of the John McCain's in chat?
Casualties.
Emergency octopus. You have been spamming shit. I responded to you 2 messages. You cannot monopolize the responses. Okay,
Iran.
Your liberalism has to be corrected through prayer and meditation.
That's not what people are saying. That's stupid.
I would rather, even if it led to Iran conquering a ton of territory, I would rather we leave. Much in the same way that the Taliban are objectively worse.
What position do you have? Are you anti-genocide? Intervene on the Rwanda genocide. That Rwanda committed genocide. You understand how stupid you sound to somebody who actually knows what they're fucking talking about? It's actually hurting me. It's literally causing me physical pain in my fucking neck because the vein is going to pop and my throat is being destroyed and you're distressing my chinchillas by making me yell.
It is Dr. Vaush, and I am removing the knife from the Middle East. Let Iran take Mashallah, Iran, take all the land.
God,
I don't care. Take Iraq. Who cares? The Iran-Iraq war will finally now, part 2. It'll last 5 days. I don't care. A new caliphate. Let's go.
That drone probably cost
he doesn't care.
$20,000
He
to
literally
manufacture.
doesn't care.
Is this in
about
contradiction
that?
to your position? The recent
He rather everyone in the Middle East just be slaughtered by these people.
You can protect global shipping lanes.
Because why? Because America bad. Oh, and he's the one who's going to talk about who America bad. There's literally another video we didn't react to it. We'll do it next time, where it's him criticizing Hassan for just being America bad. That's you.
Well,
you're exactly what you fucking hate, bro.
Response.
Oh, right.
I mean, that's a problem. If you've got one lousy drone,
and it's crazy because you look at yourself all day, you
that
think you would be like looking at yourself in the mirror and realize
some odd U.S. casualties.
It seems contradictory to your position on intervention, but the state of our occupation in the Middle East is so bad, utilitarianism overrides America's desire to make things better. What are you waffling about? What? Our continued presence in the Middle East makes things bad, so we should leave. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. You're waffling. I don't understand. At whose behest are those attacks? Emergency octopus. The thing that bothers me about you is that you're being awfully smug for somebody who's wrong.
And when China finally gets the Belt and Road Initiative up and running, America should defend that too.
Okay, so Russia, Iran, ISIS, fine in the Middle East. America being asked by Jordan, bad?
Very bad.
Okay.
First of all, Iran doesn't directly control the Houthis, though obviously there's a good degree of control there. Yeah. Leaving aside the opportunistic nature of the Houthis, you could continue to defend the shipping lanes while also removing ourselves from the Middle East broadly. And if they continue to engage in that behavior, don't you think that would make Iran and the Houthis look a little bit bad internationally?
Crazy.
To continue that behavior in
spite
of the fact that we just engaged in unprecedented
that are in the
withdrawal?
Middle East or a carrier
group? I don't know, a nation state with
that
interests
can
in
leave.
trade and deliberation and diplomacy. That might
it's almost like these things are separate.
Engaging in behavior that continues the destabilization. This is the arrogance of you liberals that I can't stand. It's one thing with groups like the Houthis or Hezbollah, which are part pseudo-state, part militia, but Iran is a fucking country. Iran is a nation. They have diplomats. They're not like a group of wacky idiots. They're a whole. There's tens of millions of people there.
They're wacky idiots.
It's not like you think like, if we leave, they'll just do bad things. Why do they do bad things? Why does anyone do bad things? Because it's not magic, you know. There are incentive structures here. Our continued presence there makes the Iranian government worse. You realize that, right?
No.
Like in every other instance this has happened. No. Wow. The constant ongoing threat of military occupation, invasion, or antagonization from a larger foreign entity increases the likelihood that both people in Iran and the Iranian government will use fear-mongering rhetoric.
Do you think Iran actually believes that's going to happen? Do you think Iran is stupid enough to think that's an actual possibility that neocons are going to be successful there?
You think that Iran? There's like a tapestry of complicated incentive structures and motivations that lead Iran.
Iran so scared that we're going to invade that they're going to engage in prisoner exchanges and get fucking $6 billion unfrozen. Yeah, dude. That sounds like somebody who's like ready to be invaded.
Yeah,
crazy.
Sure doesn't sound like diplomacy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right before we invaded Iraq, we made a bunch of deals with Saddam, right? That like furthered our diplomacy and advanced our relations together. It's almost like Iran is even against these proxies at this point, you know, in like how they acted in Jordan, but we won't even listen to them.
No. Also,
we only listen to our fucking internal dipshit monologue.
What is contradictory here? What? No, the rational liberal.
What is contradictory here? Genocide good unless in Rwanda?
What contradiction?
That might be.
And it better be a good one. I don't want you to just throw off two things. Okay, I want you to explain a direct logical contradiction. I'll wait. Thank you. They wouldn't have to attack. They would effectively be stewards of the entire shipping lane, controlling what goes in and out. Stop calling me a liberal. Makes me sad. Whoa, you're telling me Yemen would have control over ships passing through area that is effectively theirs? You mean like what Egypt does? Or like what Panama does? How is that weird in any way? I'll wait. I feel like chatters forget Iran does not have total control over the actions of the militias they fund and support. Yeah, of course.
I wonder if the Houthis
like, broadly
are doing this for a reason and making an excuse saying it's for Palestine.
We should protect international trade and also don't intervene when actors kill U.S. troops defending those lanes. The troops that were killed were in Jordan, not the Red Sea.
Yes, why were they in Jordan?
On a U.S. military base, miles and miles and miles inland. There's no relationship. That base existed long before.
You're right. There is no relationship between these two events.
Yes, because we were bombing Houthis. Then there's no contradiction whatsoever. If those bases existed beforehand,
then
the presence of those bases and the antagonization our presence offers has nothing to do at all.
Man,
with our ability to strike the Houthis. I even without Yemen, Iran controls the Hormuz Strait, which is also critical in shipping from Asia to Europe. So the liberal argument fails on two levels. No, the Hormuz Strait. Don't let the Iranians know that, because once the Iranians learn that they control that, it's all going to be Durka Muhammad Jihad over there, and they're going to put on them and their crazy towel hats, and they're going to go, wow, we are evil, death to America, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to like
why don't you look up stuff where Iran has tried to,
because that's what they're like, you know. Iran doesn't have real people in it.
Strait of Hormuz. Why don't you look up what happened? Hey, you want, like, who was that guy's name? You know, that one president, you know, who like destroyed the entire navy of Iran.
I actually don't know.
It's just, it's just wacky. It's all just like America should spend
Oh my God, can't.
indefinite time there to civilize these Middle Easterners. I feel that's I'm getting liberal pill. That's it. The reason why the Iranian-backed militias in the Middle East do what they do is because they're evil.
Crazy. True fact. I wonder why this happened. Literally in a few hours.
Wild.
And it's just a coincidence that these militias form.
It's literally
look,
360p.
Operation Praying Mantis against Iranian targets in the Arabian Gulf for retaliations for the USS Samuel B. Roberts mining 4 days later, limpet mining likely, which blew an immense hole in the hull ship, nearly sinking the ship. So they just attacked one American ship, and we destroyed half their navy in the past in the Gulf. Right? Isn't that crazy how that happened? Yeah.
That'll learn
So go ahead, Iran. Go ahead. Fuck with shipping lanes. It's almost like Iran doesn't do that. Like they learned something one time. Remember when they had an actual navy and now they have rubber dinghy rapids?
From dozens of communities, nations, even crossing the Sunni Shiite line consistently all across the Middle East, with the reliability of a massive semi-continent wide hatred of the United States. An irrational one, obviously, because we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything.
This dude doesn't even know that we were literally fucking
for elaboration. What should America do if someone like Egypt says no trade through the canal?
The Houthis.
I mean, I think that the viability of international trade
they were
and making it as efficient as possible is very important. And I think there are definitely ways.
And the Intercept wrote an article with like, there's an increasing problem about the American troops that are in Yemen. Why are they in Yemen? Who are they working with there?
Yeah. They can't be in Yemen without working with people there.
They're not working with. They're working with both governments, the Houthis and the South government.
Maritime passageways, including, as I understand it, through the Red Sea past Yemen. There is an international interest in protecting those shipping lanes, which again means that the world could defend it.
Not an international.
By the way,
okay,
you think it makes America look a little bit bad that we were the ones to send ships over there?
We're doing. There's an international interest for the shipping lanes. Let's just do a Wikipedia.
Prosperity Guardian.
Daesh. Okay, and let's see if there's an international interest here.
Ongoing effort to quote unquote protect.
What do you think? You think there's going to be international
interest? Don't you think
here?
that it should be an international issue, like a real one? Because it is. It's international maritime trade. A lot of the ships we protected have nothing to do with America, like not directly at least.
That drone probably cost $20,000 to manufacture. The people who fired it may have been a dozen people.
All right, could pause real quick because this is crazy. The fact that it literally doesn't even say show here because how big the. Oh wow, is this not international interest? Is this not international interest? Is this not international interest? Even Hezbollah is there. Even the Houthis are there. Is this not international?
ISIS?
There's the Kurds, Al Nasser Front. Huh? Venezuelan opposition even is there. There's a Venezuelan state in here. Let's see. Then.
Yep.
Where? I didn't see him.
Oh, I thought I saw it. No.
It might be. Venezuela might be the only one who were involved. So I was going to make a joke about how it's the one thing that brought Venezuela and the opposition together.
I guess not.
Yeah, Vietnam is there, not Venezuela. Crazy. I thought there's now I know that there's one country that didn't get involved. I couldn't name another one because I'm not going to sit here and eliminate through process of elimination about.
There's no way North Korea is there. The DPRK.
Both of them.
No shit. What in the actual fuck? North and South Korea. There you go. Look, unified on an issue.
Unified Korea. That's what Vaush is against, bro.
Yeah, Vaush is against the unified Korea. Is Ireland and the UK there?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I think Ireland is actually like the UK is going to be up here. Look, even Iran doesn't want them there. It's almost like that's why they didn't want those people striking those bases in Jordan. Look, America's bro, how crazy is this? Additional opponents. Look at that one. The fucking Russian-controlled part of Georgia is on there for their opponents because, of course, there's Chechens involved in ISIS, right? Bangladesh, that country you hate and want to invade. Vaush, remember that? Isn't that crazy? How many countries are here? Look at this one. Isn't that crazy? That's literally. They're recognizing that it's independent. I wonder if Morocco is also here. Is Morocco also here? Morocco is also here. Wow, West crazy. Sahara. So, yeah. Crazy. What about Syria? We have occupied Syria. So we got Turkey, the Syrian National Army. Crazy. It's almost like everyone hates them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he what? Yeah, he just said it. He was like, let's invade Bangladesh. I'm taking his word for it. Totally wasn't sarcasm. Oh, you know it's also crazy? Taiwan and China.
Mm.
How about that?
Yeah.
Huh? Let's see if China's on here.
Cross-strait unity.
Mm-hmm. Yep, China's there. So Taiwan and both China. Okay. Any other rivalries? India, Pakistan, they're there. Like, like literally people who hate each other came together. Kosovo's on here. Kosovo's recognized as hating them.
Serbia?
Oh, Serbia, probably. Yeah, let's see. Serbia. So, let's see. Ukraine. Ukraine's there. Okay, underneath Uganda. Ukraine's even there. Based Ukraine, of course.
Russia? So, no.
Oh, Russia. No, Russia's there. Russia hates them as well because Russia's in the region. Right? So Russia's literally a state actor. It's a state opponent. So like Russia's at the top section. These are the like super enemies. Look, Afghanistan's there, but if they updated the flag, so it's the Taliban flag, but still the Taliban don't like ISIS, so it would still be there. You know, it's still relevant. Like Mozambique, nobody even knows that there's a like. I was just so a person we had on before to talk about the Philippines and the Houthis, right? Who's been working with Militant Wire on our Houthi stream. They just posted like, wait, there's a fucking Islamic insurgency in Mozambique, and I was like, someone clearly doesn't watch our videos and our content because Ace talks about this all the time. Anytime Ace has an opportunity to talk about ISIS in Mozambique, he brings it up.
Yes.
Decision makers, you have to have a whole of government responses. You know, it's got to be cyber warfare, classified covert action.
Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Iranian state ideology is to spread a Shia caliphate. What happens when Iran starts to conquer Saudi Arabia? You're right. What happens if they start to what if they form a caliph and then riding upon the backs of a fleet of unicorns, they sail across the sea and invade us directly? You know, through the might of Allah. They're
okay, Donald Trump.
You know, like sure, why not? Right? Like Muhammad will return from heaven and lead a glorious crusade. They're not going to do that. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why?
I think that's what he's on.
He's Egyptian. Saudi Arabia, effectively head of OPEC, okay? Centerpiece
I think he's
global fossil fuel shipping. Do you realize what would happen to Iran physically?
On one of the shows, surely.
If they threaten the kind of shit Saudi Arabia moves around, the physical process that I'm referring to is atomization. The last
bro. Saudi Arabia, who literally can barely extend their military beyond their border.
They got
dude.
atomized.
Okay, so now we can atomize the Iraqi army, but we can't fight Iran.
Which one? Invade Saudi Arabia. Their government says they're going to form a caliphate. Well, I guess because they're all barbarians to you. Yeah, I guess they will do that. Never mind the fact that basically every country has on their books a military doctrine.
He's like literally like medical
some kind of psychotic shit
to be like a foot doctor or something.
They really will do that, you know.
So he has no formal background. He really is passionate about insurgency, especially in Africa. And we found him and like recognized how good his work was, and he was busy with school and he still wanted to do stuff. So we said, hey, come do these little reports with us.
Logical failings consistently, it seems, draw from a pre-existing assumption you have that the people of Iran are less than us. And that does bother me a little bit. Because the belief that the Iranian people are barbarous or unciviliized or whatever the fuck else is the reason the Middle East is destabilized the way it is. If we had just done diplomacy with Iran, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Wait.
We had treated them like
are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay.
Countries.
You're saying that the Middle East would have been stable if it wasn't for racism by America? Is that really the take you just presented? Do you listen to yourself when you talk, bro? Because like you clearly love listening to yourself.
You have to. Because if you don't,
this dude takes shits on the toilet and he thinks it's a symphony, bro. What's going on with the dildo in that guy's bookshelf, though? Can we talk about that?
Right now, watching. I think people here say diplomacy because you're all John McCain. That's John McCain brain right there. Diplomacy. You mean letting them do what they want? That's John McCain brain right there. John McCain was actually right about Russia. We f***ed up with Russia like a long time ago. Why do you think your audience is like this? Because there are liberals in it. And also because
liberals
I often disagree with people on the left, because a lot of the dumb community license to think, actually, what if liberals have been right about everything, you know? Wow, lefties often have bad foreign policy opinions. Let me just go back to 2001 to grab the median liberal opinion on foreign policy. That must be a sensible one. It comes across so civil, so informed. Look at all the people who make these arguments. They're wearing suits. They go on CNN.
Bro literally just did 9/11 argument. Who are you, fucking Nikki Haley? And now
heavy bombers going after fixed installations, not a targeted 500-pound JDAM, but 100 munitions striking a target to try and stun these people and have them change their ways.
To be fair, Vaush, your foreign policy takes oscillate between pro-America and anti-America. Yeah, because I'm not a infant whose political positions are just, well, am I pro or against country? I have broader moral positions. Like, yeah, obviously.
You just hate Kurds.
Yeah, like this is very true, except your positions are dog shit and your conclusions are not that complex.
Pro-Ukraine, pro-capitalism. What else are we pro, Vaush? Get your
shipping lanes.
Yeah, that's
Can't
capitalism.
forget the shipping lanes.
That's I said capitalism.
We're anti.
I'm sure he supports our position with Taiwan. Are we pro AUKUS, Vaush? Is that what we're pro? If we're pro AUKUS?
I don't know. Maybe you would be.
America back Ukraine and that good is that's literally bro, you literally were doing a whole I am pro NATO. NATO is perfect weeks ago, and we were criticizing you for it, and now look at you.
I agree with an American narrative. People are like, whoa,
still criticizing.
Like, oh, you betrayed the cause.
Yeah, because now you're on the other side of dipshit lane.
You know, you have to appeal to broader moral considerations because you're not going to get anywhere if you just oscillate back. It's politics. It's just team sports to you at that point. Vaush, liberals can also be the rational liberal. From your posts, the only thing I know for absolute sure.
See, no, it's what he's saying is true though. Like
no. The West should defend Taiwan. We're pro Taiwan here. We're pro rational good things and good outcomes here. That's the issue. Is that Vaush is? But we're trying to figure out where he's pro America. It's like, okay, Ukraine, Taiwan, capitalism is probably that's his pro America. And apparently NATO, even though which includes Turkey, killing Kurds,
martial forces, militia groups, insurgency, or whatever else.
But it's also just very interesting that he's just
now my forehead, the aneurysm is moved up from my fucking neck into my fucking brain now. This is the dude who will write captions like brain damage suffered. I'm actually like suffering, like I'm in physical pain, bro, from stress because of you and how stupid you are.
It really makes me wonder, if Russia was a non-nuclear nation, how many people in my community would think, unironically, that a counter-invasion of Russia and an occupation would be a good way of solving the problem?
Hey,
anyway,
crazy.
What else?
Whoa. First of all, I'm pro-invading Russia over, like, bomb the fuck out of them. Invade Russia. Iran, dumb. Russia, go ahead. Okay, simple. Now, that said,
the strikes targeted proxy militias and Iranian Quds forces.
Are we just saying they're pro-invading Iran because they don't have nukes? Do you think people aren't pro-invading Russia just because of the nuclear weapons? Like, who gives a shit? Fuck them.
No, actually, I think
what are they going to do?
I mean, look, fucking Finland's in NATO now. The Finnish will just jump the border and fuck up their nuclear train, and they won't be able to reach their nuclear weapons anyway. They'll cut them off, and then they're fucked anyway. So,
centers, weapons storage sites, and supply chain facilities. Sites two U.S. officials tell NBC News are directly linked,
which is what Russia said Afghanistan was.
This will also not be a one-day affair. The U.S. says the response will be phased.
Where did you get so mad you fell out of your chair?
This is the start of these actions. They will unfold at times and places of our choosing, said Secretary of Defense Austin in a statement. The question now is not only how does Iran respond, but how do our allies in the region react? It is delicate. The president and his top officials have repeatedly said they do not want a war with Iran, and they don't want to be dragged into a larger Middle East conflict. Can they avoid it? Iraq was already angry about U.S. airstrikes against Iranian-backed groups there last week.
We agree. We don't want to fight a war. Okay, Iran, thank you.
Why are we acting like Iran isn't a nuclear state? Because Iran isn't a nuclear state. That's the reason why we don't act that way. They don't have nukes.
Undermines years of cooperation. What do the Iraqis say now? And why does the U.S. still have such a large presence there in the first place? We should also note the timing. These strikes were launched less than 2 hours after President Biden welcomed home the remains of 3 American soldiers.
Because of nuclear weapons now? Do you think that's why we do it? Or because we don't give a fuck about Libya?
Christ. His face is slowing off his skull.
You know, it's almost like ISIS is there. And
in a statement released just last hour, the president said the
United States does not ended to stop ISIS happen, we would be gone, right? So that's all we need to do. So either destroy ISIS or let them happen.
We start tonight with correspondents at the White House, the Pentagon, and on the ground in Iraq. Kelly O'Donnell, you just got off a call with the National Security Council. Tell me what they told you.
Well, part of what we're learning is that this operation expanded over about a 30-minute period, and we're told that all of the U.S. aircraft are now safely back out of harm's way. They believe that their initial assessments that they were able to strike the targets they set out to strike, and when daylight comes in Iraq and Syria and where these operations were carried out, they will have a better opportunity then to do full...
Apparently just today, Iran kicked off construction on a nuclear power plant.
Oh my
Sure
gosh,
they
the
did.
nuclear fucking power plant.
Battle damage
Sure they
assessments. That includes a video component, and I'm told that there will be
They're gonna
some
make
determination
chocolate
about
chip
whether
cookies in
any
there.
of the strikes that are captured on the airplane video and so forth, if any of that can be made public, and they committed to some transparency on that. What they would not say is
I love
exactly
this
what comes
graphic,
next,
bro.
except there will be more
85
operations.
targets,
Did acknowledge that weather was a
125
significant factor in
precision
the timing
munitions,
of what took place
B-1
tonight. We're talking about the
bombers.
president being,
It's like the
updated.
other ones are not. What is it?
Trust me for sure.
Is that a
Trump,
number?
Trump would
You know,
100%
is that
fight
an
attack
amount
Iran
of
with
bombers?
strikes or talk
B1?
about
Is
how
that
we
a certain?
immediately
Is that like
attack Iran.
battalion size?
When it comes to antagonizing with Iran, Trump has always been really bad. A big part of this is that Trump is the most corrupt president ever, I guess, and he is heavily bought by the Saudis.
Richard
and the Saudis,
Nixon?
of course, have quite a bit of beef with Iran.
Throughout the plans of the operation, and they feel good about how they were able to target the types of facilities that they argue are directly related to the kinds of strikes that were bringing danger and ultimately lethal
Now, are you also
consequences
against
for American
Jordan
soldiers. That
participating
happened, of
in
course,
these
in
strikes?
Jordan Sunday.
Because their territory got struck? Are all strikes bad here, or only the ones the U.S. does?
Tonight, our sense is that the activity for this evening is concluded based on the officials saying that the aircraft are out of harm's way. When
This
the next
dude probably
type
doesn't realize
of strikes
how
will take place,
often
we
we
don't
bomb
have a
the
sense.
Golden
There were all
Zone.
questions asked about that, as you might imagine, and they could not get into those details, not wanting to be ahead.
I said, this dude has no idea how often we bomb the Golden Zone. Like once a week. And that's not in response. That's the key. When they say we responded to 10 attacks, we've also just done attacks on them that weren't in response to anything.
Decisive and urgent.
Yeah, Tehran Times. This sounds like a good source. Let's pull this up.
An event that the United States initially turned into a cause to accuse Iran of supporting the offensive groups, and then made some American senators and media speak reaction against Iran. Despite the fact that Iraqi Islamic resistance groups...
Are you Hassan now? What source did you just pull up and start reading? Are you for real?
Iran rejected the
like this, you are the most critical person on who's this source. Anything that doubts your narrative, you have to dissect the source and be like, well, it's pure research, blah blah blah.
The existing order in the world is going through its period of decline, and the formation of a new world order requires a valid and comprehensive discourse. And this is
they're literally using the word new world order. Mr. Critical Thinking, please wake up your brain.
Against the system of domination in order to confront.
Who says that?
I wonder how much of this is
who says new world order?
The nuclear deal with Iran if he won the election. Not only did Biden
stupid, insane people who believe in Iran propaganda, like you, who are just going along with it now. This dude's brain is so infected by the Ayatollah. His dick is just fucking his eyeballs
into their territory and hitting these strikes that have the Iranian influence associated with.
Goes one and then the other eye. That's just constantly just penetrating and skull fucking you.
American lives. So we're getting a lot of detail and basically.
This kind of sounds like Japan in the 1930s sewing about Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere. Do you only say that because they said Asia in it? I don't think that Iran wants to conquer all the Middle East or any bullshit like that. The only real military
really? Why the proxies are just there because America there and Iran's scared. Iran defenseless puppy.
Kind of effectively just a vassal state.
The big picture here
just a widow guy who's
the
getting
US
nuclear
wanted
weapons
to take out capabilities without going inside Iran.
Pick a fucking side of your argument. Are they getting nuclear weapons in a threat or harmless puppies, bro?
That's an initial snapshot of what we're learning from officials just after this operation concluded.
I want to get Keir's reaction on Iraq, but first, one more to you, Kelly O'Donnell. Let me ask you about the anticipation. What does the White House believe will happen next?
Well, I think there is a sense that with the military's assessment about what strikes, damage caused by them, what capabilities have been removed from the battlefield, if you will, what then come from this, like what other needed targets have to be next in the crosshairs. We don't know the duration. We just know that it is intended to be a multi-part process. And they really avoided talking about timing and so forth for all the obvious reasons. And we want to be responsible about not forecasting military operations too far.
If we had time, it would be very interesting because I looked a little bit about what Jake Sullivan, who somehow still has a job, said about this. And he says a very interesting statement on what they asked him about this. But we'll look at that next stream. Anyone can go watch it on their own and spoil it.
This is a U.S. Operation, not an allied operation that we had seen in other kinds of defensive moves that have been happening in that region. So expect that over a period of time, we will get more indication when they're ready to move. It was notable that the officials talked about favorable weather. And so those kinds of conditions loom very, very large. So we expect battle damage assessments after daylight. We expect an assessment.
It is an allied operation, though. Jordan participated.
Video. We expect to have a better sense of.
Well, setting that out for you there.
Hey, what are you doing?
Munitions, drones, the kinds of facilities that these.
See, this is your fault. It's buffering. You tried to skip. You cheated.
I didn't do shit.
Iranian-backed proxies. In fact, the Iranian Republican Guard themselves have been using to target U.S. bases and even attempting to supply groups like Hezbollah and targeting Israel. So we know that aspect of it, but we don't know yet exactly what was hit. Now, we have got, so what you have to rely on are the kinds of regional reports we're hearing. So
I will, it's literally uploaded in Iran,
we are hearing that there were explosions there and that it's in a place where the group Hezbollah is not.
Yeah. I don't know why turning it down makes it buffer. That's fucking YouTube.
Kataib Hezbollah is the group that is accused.
Probably use the slider instead of the key.
That drone attack at Tower
I can't
22
stand
killed
this guy's
those
voice.
3 US service members.
Can't stand
but
you
then
in
two now
general,
in Anbar province, we're hearing that a site that is belongs to the popular mobilized.
Iran can make.
We bombed the PMF base.
US official.
Nice.
I don't know if I believe that. Top U.S. Defense Department official said on Tuesday, down from the estimated 1 year it will have taken while the 2015 Iran nuclear deal was in effect. A bomb of what size?
Big.
This is an older article, guys. This is from about a year ago. While U.S. officials say Iran has grown closer to producing fissile material, they don't believe it's mastered the technology to actually build a bomb. Dude, what?
Oh, is this?
Oh my god! Another article telling
you
you the exact same thing, bro.
Is this what you're talking about? Where they're like, oh, they're going to get a bomb in 3 days.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
What incoherent horseshit is this?
Oh my god,
bro.
What? It's not hard to make a bomb if you have the materials. We made it like 100 years ago. It's like you could. This is more like savagery bullshit. Okay? Iran is a modern industrialized state.
Did he absorb anything from that movie at all?
A bomb. I don't think they could make enough fissile material for 1 in 12 days unless the bomb would be like, I don't know, 1 kiloton or something. You know, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. Look into it. On what? Research it. What? Research what? What? The breakout time? How quickly they can make a bomb?
Sign off.
I mean,
don't
again, it
talk
depends on the
about
size of the bomb.
policy anymore. Your opinions are worthless. Advocate for Ukraine and Taiwan and fuck off, bro. Like, seriously. You're just, you've literally done nothing but advocate for the genocide of, like, indigenous people here.
Forces. Another Iranian-backed kind of militia was also hit, and if that is true, and again, I should just say these are just regional reports. It's very difficult to confirm. It's now 2 a.m. here. If that is the case, the PMF is actually connected to the Iraqi military. So
no, they're not.
That's not weird. A nuke is different from a standard explosive. Iran has been trying to make nuclear weapons.
He's too busy arguing with chat to hear the things that this guy's saying, because it would be really funny if he picked up on that one.
He's pulling a Hassan.
He's so bad on Europe, bro. He's bad on everything except for like just supporting Ukraine.
All he needs to do is start eating, and he's basically
the state of like streaming since the Ukraine war kicked off.
Oh.
Like at first it was like, oh, everyone was like, yeah, fuck Russia. This is Russian propaganda. This is obvious. And then since then, what happened to all of you?
This is from the commander-in-chief of the armed forces here in Iraq. Bear in mind, Iraq will feel it has to complain about these strikes, but what it is saying is
he's good at debating
along the Iraqi border areas are being subjected to airstrikes.
He's good at like debating like people who nobody wants to talk to in the first place. Crazy.
These strikes, this statement from the Iraqi military says, constitutes a violation of Iraqi sovereignty and undermining the efforts of the Iraqi government
on why they deserve to be killed by Iran.
Now, we should just caveat that with pointing out that the Iraqi government isn't just a partner of the US, it's also a partner of Iran. So it looks both ways, if you like. And also, we know that Iraq will inevitably complain about its sovereignty being violated. The question is whether it does anything about it. By that, I mean whether it leads to Iraq deciding to tell the US forces to leave.
It's almost like Iraq is Iran.
Previous strikes here. Then just turning to Syria, what we are hearing, we heard really at the beginning of all this that there was explosions.
Oh, I wish Trump didn't the nuke deal. At this point, Iran getting nukes might be a good thing. It would be a pretty strong incentive for America to back off in the region. Might lead to more stability. You think they're missing some kind of?
Oh my god, what an idiot, bro!
I don't think Iran.
First of all, nobody should have nukes. We should be working towards getting rid of all of them.
I agree. Denuclearization is where we should be going. No nuclear weapons, nuclear power.
I mean, think about it. North Korea has been threatening to nuke South Korea and Japan and whatever for ages, and they haven't done it. And I think that North Korea is led a lot less rationally than Iran is.
In Mayadeen, that's in eastern Syria, again, along the border there. Now, another group, Katie, which
you know, and nobody wants to invade North Korea, and it's almost like it has nothing to do with the nukes, though. You know, like it's almost like they just don't want to fucking spend the effort because how many people died the last time.
Now, the acronym for medium range would be MRBM, whereas ICBM stands for intercontinental ballistic missile.
Yep.
It goes to space. Like an intercontinental ballistic missile is a different type of missile.
And
it's not
then you have to build the nuclear trigger. It doesn't work the same as like
goes
just
up
an
into
explosive
space,
trigger.
And then it drops down onto a target, which means it can hit anywhere. But this has a range of
about no nukes. You're correct. You're 100%
which is less
correct.
than intercontinental by a lot.
But saying I hope Iran gets nukes because then America will leave the Middle East is just it's insane. Like it's literally just like spitting in the face of everyone there.
I've got an intercontinental ballistic missile right here in my hand.
Like there's no way this guy has fucking Arabs in his audience anymore after this shit. Like how do you stick around after this fucking video?
Bro, I have
if you're Arabic and you watch this guy, come at me. Let me know. And I mean like in the Middle East. Like you're in a Middle Eastern country and you watch this guy and you think he's based, and you also let me know if you also feel how you feel about Iran as well, and then come at me.
I have thrown this bottle rocket from the Iberian Peninsula down south. It is now in Africa, okay? Iran and China are in the same continent too. Some people say Middle East and India are subcontinent, whatever. Inter-subcontinental ballistic missile. As long as it crosses the border from India to Pakistan, you've reached the ICBM.
That those have been struck. So that gives you a picture. And as you hear about the scale of this targeting, 85 sites according to 85 targets according to the US. I think one of the things to take away from that is a spotlight, and we've said it a number of times already tonight, a spotlight on just how embedded and how widespread the Iranian influence and its facilities are, particularly in Syria, but also here in Iraq. This has been allowed to happen, if you like, over a number of years.
Iran launched 3 satellites. The technology for launching satellites is not the same as the technology for an ICBM. They're different. They're different things.
I wish you would listen to the videos
they have taken advantage. Just for example,
do one or the other. Argue with chat like Hassan, or watch the video, bro.
Yeah, no, it literally is. No, guys, it's not. There are differences. In order to build the materials necessary to launch a satellite, in most cases, unless Iran is doing literally everything in-house, which is possible, but it would surprise me. I could be wrong on that, I guess. Like, the parts that you need to specifically manufacture a satellite and the rocket that you need to launch into space are not the same as the part. Like, this would be like the argument that all guns are the same, or that like anything that reaches space is the same. ICBMs have
all guns are the
more
same,
specific and significantly more expensive.
All rockets being the same.
This is true. Like most guns pretty much have the same mechanism.
Like besides like breech loading, you know?
Yeah. The primary delivery mechanism
pretty
is
much.
Launch the satellite or the probe or whatever into its preferred orbit, and then it does like correctional stuff.
Yeah, it's like trigger bolt breach. That's it. As long as you have those 3 things, something that can seal it, something that operates the action, and something that fires the bullet, you've got a gun.
And also, there are specific requirements for the orbits that satellites follow around Earth, depending on whether like low orbit or high orbit, whereas ICBMs theoretically have to target anywhere, right? So you can't just have something that works under the best conditions at the right time to a specific set of orbits. You need something that literally, like, up in space, big heavy payload, anywhere on Earth, anytime, let's go, which is definitely like a different... Like, the whole point of an ICBM is that it's supposed to be able to come down pretty quickly. You know, if it just hovered up in space for a while waiting, it wouldn't be a very good ICBM.
Missile expert now.
That's my understanding of it. Anyway, having the ability to launch satellites definitely doesn't mean you have ICBMs.
I've never read anything about it, of course.
It would be expensive, though. Why not just put a missile on a plane? They can go anywhere. What you're describing is called a jet. They do put missiles on those. Iran has demonstrated grit and determination in mastering nuclear technology. The time it would now need to build atomic weapons may be too short for the West's comfort. A nuclear-capable Tehran could further disrupt the Middle East, or possibly make it more stable. I think you have that backwards. If you can put spacecraft into orbit, then definitionally you have the ability to launch ICBM. No, that's not true. No, there's differences. Open KSP. Iran has the ability to make supersonic missiles, apparently. I could do that. You mean hypersonic? Does hypersonic even mean anything, or is this one of those stupid LARP terms?
Yeah,
like either it goes faster than
hypersonic is, I think, 6 times the speed of sound.
It's also when we say hypersonic missiles, like Russia having hypersonic missiles, people don't understand what we're talking about. We're talking a specific type of hypersonic.
Is simultaneously
developing the ones that maneuver in
civilian, spacefaring, and military purposes.
They're crazy.
The United States would never do that. We would never. That's not a thing that literally every country does.
All right.
Who cares about Iran's rockets?
Mach 5 or above.
The issue is Iran can build as many rockets as they want. They can shoot as many rockets as they want. Like, who gives a shit?
Technicians are assisting with the Iranian space launch vehicle and missile program.
China does not have them. There's no. The chips required for these hypersonic missiles is something that is not barely achievable by America. Like,
bro, look at this though. Vaush Sudan covered somewhere on Twitter, and I clicked it thinking it would be garbage, and then I stuck around, and now I hate Vaush. We literally have like just using common sense. We have shown people the way. What's the fucking Indian thing? It's the solution to mental madness. What was their thing?
Which one from the video we watched?
Yeah, it's like the solution to brain madness or something.
Totally out of our common sense.
Let me see.
He stopped because he's now arguing with his chat about fucking. Oh, I remember.
I'm also letting the video load.
I remember one time he like broke out Kerbal Space Program to like build something to prove his chat wrong, and it's like, yeah, bro, you did it. This is Vaush.
They referenced the Protocols of Elder Zion. I mean, I wrote that book. That's a great book.
I think it should have buffered enough by now.
This is Vaush's politics right here.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder.
This is Vaush right here. This is what he believes.
بيت Dar dar, zanga zanga, ferd ferd.
This is
I'm
us.
fucking better than you.
Vehicles with lift capacity boosters that could be capable of reaching ICBM ranges, reach the United States. They were reconfigured. Development of ICBMs because SLVs use similar technology. Look, I'm literally right. Even in this understandingwar.org, this
fucking
State Department space program, and within 30 minutes. Sorry, my bad. 30 minutes.
Did you hear that? He mentioned Kerbal Space Program there. He literally said, "I'm going to break out
something that
Kerbal
can go
Space
into
Program."
space and then hit any target on the ground within like 1 hour. Okay,
so
that's a rocket. It has to get into space and then have the fuel, the Delta V, necessary to strike any target on the planet Earth. Within 30 minutes. Sorry, my bad. 30 minutes. Okay.
Who cares?
A specific target. You need all the equipment necessary to calculate the rotation. All the correctional stuff. I'm telling you. I'm not doing this anymore. It's not like I know shit. Okay. You know what I'm arguing off of right now? I'm arguing off of gut. That's what I got. That's what I got. The UA kids will never understand.
You're certainly not arguing off of intelligence.
You'll know if I say that building an ICBM is harder than launching a satellite into space. That's because it's true. Here. It's true right here. Yeah. My hands were in the right place. Military action against Iran's nuclear program is certainly a possibility at some point before Iran builds a bomb. Such a strike would create shockwaves across the region and around the world and cause turbulence in energy markets. While Iran's nuclear program could prove limited to peaceful electricity generation, Tehran's grand geopolitical ambition, its regional rivalries, and nuclear infrastructure missile programs.
Yeah, I was letting the video buffer.
Oh, I thought you said you were looking something up.
I think I was. I forgot.
Venturism regrettably point to an altogether different story. Consequently, the scenario is the more likely of the two presented. This is a deep state article, dude. What the GIS reports online? What am I looking at here? Regrettably, we have no choice but to invade Iran before they build. Hold on. Who are we? Founded in 2011 by HSH Prince Michael of Liechtenstein, provide business leaders, senior managers, and policymakers with genuine, relevant, scenario-based forecasts and geopolitics. Okay, these people are evil. All right. These are literally like the Machiavellian lobbyists and policy
now we hate
that are
Liechtenstein.
behind the leaders as they make their decisions. You know, holding bloodfeast shit. Thanks. This image illustrates where GIS experts.
Yeah, guess what? I don't give a fuck about China's hypersonic missiles. You know, that's not relevant. What's relevant is the genocide they're committing, which I know Vaush is against. It's only genocides against what Hassan would call brown people that he's pro.
But that's also what they claim. So we have to remember that China cannot produce chips. And
well, yeah. So like, there's different types of hypersonic. Like going the speed of hypersonic is one thing, but then like I'm not an expert on this, but like this one dude, like God, I'm trying to remember Mike Black, I think, on Twitter. I think he's the guy who he writes extensively on how journalists are wrong about hypersonic missiles and stuff, and like what they're actually talking about. Because like this whole like hypersonic missile rush is total journalist jargon to the same way they're scaring you about Iran. It's total Jimbo Jabbo. You know, like China can build fast missile. Okay, everyone can build fast missile, but that missile has to accelerate. You know. The glide vehicle type shit is like what we're talking about, where it's like, and then Russia keeps trying to build it and blowing them up and killing people or something.
And this is probably something that America's had for like half a decade.
We actually don't. The specific like, glide vehicle type we're talking about.
Okay.
All the journalists claim that China and Russia are way ahead because China and Russia report to be way ahead.
Yeah, exactly. They report.
I think. Ask Mike Black. I'm not a fucking missile expert, and I don't.
Fair enough.
When I'm outside my area of expertise, I know not to be an idiot like Vaush and like talk out my ass and then yell at my chat and say, "I'm going to make it."
Only the people who watch the good anime came out. All the white boys back in base, they stayed in because they didn't recognize those guys. They were all about what's like a white boy anime from the early 2000s. Can you help me with this one?
Dragon Balls.
What would you make fun of?
Okay, now we're talking about white people survive for some reason because the soldiers are black. What the fuck is happening? No, black people love Dragon Ball Z, bro.
Really?
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z is so hood culture.
Interesting.
Like yeah, all the like anime like. All the people like you'll hear it all the time, like black fighters and stuff. They'll talk about Goku and like how Goku every task it was just training to overcome and stuff. Yeah.
I love that. That's good. I like that. I wouldn't have seen that coming. I know that One Piece I think is big in the black community though. Yeah, considering we're on topic with fucking side tangents.
Why the US isn't Jordan right? On Twitter pretending we were at war with Jordan. Oh, I'm sure like the media and Twitter left thinks that we have a boots on the ground invasion of Syria. We've reinvaded Iraq.
You can't build missiles good enough
until today. We've also invaded Jordan. You know, that's probably like the median opinion, I imagine.
You gave secret to China.
Let's go right to national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin. She's got a live update from the Pentagon. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Dana. Well, at 4 p.m. Eastern, the U.S. began carrying out airstrikes on
on 6 to 7 locations, I'm told, in both Iraq and Syria. U.S. Central Command just put out a statement in which they said that 85 targets had been struck at those different locations that were used by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. 125 munitions were dropped.
Is the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps both trains them?
Bro, everyone is saying it. Even the stupid judge lady is saying IRGC now. Now we just like
my resolution
shell game that
airstrikes.
So, like months ago, we were just trying to get people to be aware of what the IRGC is and its existence, and now just because 3 people died, suddenly everyone knows.
Yep, and we have a very, very good article going over. I think some of it was the PMF. Sorry, it was the PMF that we went over in our Understanding Iraq article. If you haven't read that, it's on our Substack. You can find it on our link tree, which is on everything. It is old. It was the first one we wrote. And it's still fucking relevant. Probably the best article you'll ever read on Iraq.
Almost always feels worse than doing it yourself until it doesn't. And that's the surprise. Because when you're getting head, you're like, oh, well, this is going to feel good. And then it does. But when they put their hand on your dick, it's like, oh, well, all right. You know, like presumably at some point they would have had to touch my dick. You know, that's fine. I guess I can live with this. And then it feels really good. You're like, whoa, that's crazy. To be fair, a lot of men get shit handed. Well, they tend to do better for obvious reasons.
Oh my God.
Iran.
Can we stay on
the U.S.
topic?
has not figured out a way to put enough pressure on Iran to make it painful enough for them to stop supporting these groups.
I know,
and in fact, there are some who believe, and this is why it's a very delicate balancing act for the White House National Security Team as well as the Pentagon, is how not to get
at least the last 30 minutes has been like irrelevant shit, right?
They're going to lose a lot of
and talking about dicks now and hand jobs and who gives better hand jobs. Look at the graphic. Look, Yemen's in 2. Look at that.
It's tragic that 3 Americans were killed, but the U.S. troops sitting in Iraq and Syria have been sitting ducks for months now.
Indeed. Jennifer Griffin, thank you so much. We want to get Mike Tobin. He's in Israel.
Maybe you shouldn't be there? What does that
mean? Ducks, when I go duck hunting, I always got to watch out for their phalanx system.
Do we need to build bunkers all across the Middle East? Yeah, exactly. We put troops in a base near combat areas. Like, what do you mean sitting ducks?
Vaush,
got the latest
why don't you look at how the attack happened? And like how it was like a fluke that they got through. You said it yourself. You said it yourself. How they just throw missiles and miss all the time. Maybe because there might be like certain countermeasures that these bases have and stuff. That if anything was going to be critical and impact them, they're able to countermeasure them. Why don't you look at how they overcame the phalanx system specifically and were able to hit a strike on this base?
In like 2037, cursing itself for not having the foresight to know you shouldn't build like 600,000 indestructible concrete fortresses all across eastern Syria and northern Iraq. Like, ooh, we didn't think this one through when we left.
What are you talking about?
Well, it being a relative term, how Rock, right? Within a few hundred miles, anything that's within drone range.
Some of those cities are just on the banks of the Euphrates River. Al-Qaeda is immediately across the border. So a lot of the real estate, at least where a lot of the strikes have been concentrated, is not a whole lot of real estate concentrated into about a 60-mile area. We know that there are other strikes inside of Iraq. The U.S.
Does he understand they're basically like tents? Surrounded by barbed wire and mines and phalanx.
Yeah, every single base that I've seen in the Middle East is those big sand-filled bricks.
You know, Judge, you and both the
and they're like 5 high the Taliban and with watchtowers and tents, and that's about it. And like portables.
Donald Trump is one of the reasons he was so hated by both the machine that exists within Washington D.C. that is now gearing up for yet another war. Whether or not it was left or right, Republican or Democrat, there was enmity towards Donald Trump, and I think it's in part because it stood in the way of moments like this when you need some sobriety to say, if I'm connecting the dots correctly, we have presence scattered around this area for counterterrorism. Those targets then get hit. Then we now too. I'm just listening to the conversation throughout this first 35 minutes, Greg. Then we have to go hit the people that hit us, and we live under this delusion that's just going to stop them. One big stop, and they're not going to. That's not against the backdrop of about 50 years of talk of regime change in Iraq.
You need a history
of regime change. That's I love it that Fox News is the one who produced the best graphic here that everyone has used, right?
It is funny.
We seeded the ground for more terrorism that comes back and hits us, which undercuts the original purpose of putting troops in the place in the first place. That's counterterrorism. I just think we might need some sobriety before we fire up the war machine on this cycle that seems to always end up in a.
I'm now a Republican. All right, it's happened.
I told you. Who called it? Who called it?
Would agree. Yep.
Who called it, bro? It's almost like I have foresight and I can use my knowledge.
He cooks, and he's right.
And like think about things and use my critical thinking skills to figure out what is about to happen in the future.
Look at this. This guy looks like
it must be because I'm psychic and have mental powers. It can't be because I use my brain like a human.
And Rambo. No idea that this was going on, and it was almost as if they were trying to give Iran cover. That they didn't know that they allow, as I said on Martha's show, they let the kids have a kegger and then pretended to know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, that's a distinction without sometimes naive because none of those proxy terrorist groups would exist without Iran's support. Iran provides them with military equipment, with all the.
That's not true. Keep in mind, by the way, the vast majority of these local insurgencies would almost certainly still be around, even if Iran wasn't backing them. Iran just gives them more resources. Because Iran wants to drive a bunch of wedges to destabilize American presence in the region. And
the
Israeli
people who attacked the base literally came to be because the Assad regime had a rebellion against them.
Problems, they're not like totally manufactured. Like Iran isn't just creating
missiles that they need with intelligence support, with financial support, and so Iran might not have told them when to strike, but Iran was certainly providing them with all of that support because
Qatar funds them too. Yeah, it's weird considering the weird relationship Saudi Arabia has had historically with a variety of terror acts and insurgency groups, including, a big one over here in the States. But that never gets talked about. We would sooner invade Iraq, a country that had nothing to do with it, than mention it. It's almost like we're willing to give a pass to countries that give us oil, and the other ones can go fuck themselves. Like, we will permit any indignity from a nation that allows us to drive our gas guzzlers down these 27-lane highways
on why the Iraq
outside
War happened,
and we have to take our
and
anger
like
out the
they
other
don't
guys,
dig any deeper.
The Saudis
And like
Qatar hate each other.
how crazy that shit is.
Am I mixing Qatar up with another country?
They don't even know about what
doesn't
happened
Qatar
on
do
the
the whole
USS
like slave
Bataan
state
and what happened in Egypt with that prisoner on the baton and how it's connected to the
like,
forever prisoner Abu
state,
Zubaydah,
like petrodollar,
and they don't know about al-Qaeda's doctrine and their opinions and what was going on at the time.
I'm not saying they're allies. I'm saying, was I thinking of the UAE? Oh, I might have been thinking of the UAE. So wait, is Qatar not a petro state?
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, bro!
Wait, Qatar was the country that hosted the World Cup, right? And they had like
Qatar produces all the terrorist propaganda.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's the other little one. What's the other little Middle Eastern country like down here? That's the petro state, isn't it? Bahrain. Is that the UAE?
They're all petro states.
Yeah, it's Bahrain that's the little island thing here, right?
Sorry, the images that get shown of Qatar.
About it.
Yeah,
and
like I only know that Bahrain exists because of the Formula One.
Nations like this exist entirely for billionaire pedophiles to go there and be waited on by slaves. There's no way that's real. No, it is. If you don't care at all about building a real city that works for the people who live in it, you can build really wacky looking cities. All the things that make cities look, the way they do normally, that's a product of deliberate organic design that's meant to service the needs of the people who live there. But if you don't give a fuck and everything is built by slaves and you've got trillions in petrodollars to throw around, why not just make everything a gigantic tourist trap? I do like this one though.
It's called being Dubai pilled. At least my neck stopped hurting because you stopped saying stupid shit because we want to look at teapots that Bahrain look now
like
instead of like
it's like kind of curvy,
engaging with like what's happening in the world.
Am I pronouncing it correctly? Carafe? Oh, okay, carafe. Gotcha. Petroleum and natural gas account for more than 70% of total government revenue, more than 60% of gross domestic product.
Turns out that
85% of export earnings.
Okay,
yeah, that I stand by what I originally said. I was mixing up Qatar and the UAE. However, Qatar is still a shithole slave state.
I think we're done here.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Are we gonna have another? Let's jump. He might be getting back to it. Hang on. Let's do the double click fast forward. Oh, we're back on it. Okay.
It happens through the Red Sea. And then in Syria and Iraq, very small numbers of U.S. troops, 2,500 in Iraq, just a few hundred in Syria. They're there to do counterterrorism operations. They're not there to bring democracy to the Middle East. They're not there to build girls' schools, but they are there to protect us here at home because there are terrorists.
Trump gave Saudi Arabia permission to invade Qatar, but Rex Tillerson stopped it. So Saudi Arabia settled on blockading them, instead of which forced Qatar to rely even more on Iran. Biden put a stop to the blockade. I think we should have let Saudi Arabia invade Qatar because it would have been funny, mostly. Yeah, you're right. It led to a huge protest.
Do you know why Saudi
Arabia had to
invade them?
Lebanon's October 2019 protests weren't just about the
Al Jazeera existed.
Lebanon is such a small
Seriously?
That's basically that's basically what happens.
We need to return
Al Jazeera was critical of like MBS and like reported on him cutting people up or something. So like they supported the Houthis and they were part of that.
17 people controlled by somebody with a 16-syllable name. And everyone, every county and nation. And if you want to travel more than like 20 miles in a straight line, you have to bring a purse full of coin to pay all the toll collectors.
What are you talking about?
I think that would be good.
He's talking to
Qaeda and ISIS terrorists there. And if we don't target them way out there, left of boom, then they're going to target us in the region and
what about Africa?
I served in those places. I served in Iraq for a year. I served in South Asia as a station chief for 2 years.
My resolution,
we were always perfectly fine serving in harm's way as long as we had the right equipment to keep us as safe as possible, as well as the right policy. And that's what has been lacking over the past, certainly, few months, where 160 plus strikes against our people, and we've lost escalation dominance.
I love this number.
To Iran.
Escalation dominance. A term, if ever I have heard one. I mean, you don't like. It's no surprise looking at this guy that he thirsts for blood. You know.
Dan, Janine Pirro here. The whole idea of our policy, of.
I know you played this one, but I can't remember.
Oh, it produced an overwhelming sense of impending doom.
Yeah, that's this video.
Janine Pirro, the alcoholic. Here we go, Miss Drunky Drunk.
Allowing how many? I think it's like 80 or 100
here.
who were injured, some with traumatic brain injuries in Iraq and Syria before this last attack, where 3 were killed and 40 injured. How much influence has the commercial interference of shipping had on the American policy? I mean, because it's almost like you see the commercial. Maersk apparently is.
Sorry, holding down click makes it fast forward now, but I tend to hold click when I'm pausing anyway. I need to get over that. What is the relationship between this? Why was she was?
Oh, thank God, a good.
She was just like, we allow Iran to injure our service members, and then it randomly pivots to maritime trade.
Going through the Red Sea now, they're going around the Cape of Africa. I mean, do you see policy changing when it comes to commercial vessels and countries getting a little more aggressive?
To me, but I'm talking about bombing Syria and Iraq. People get around
Americans. We allowed 160 attacks on our servicemen in Syria and Iraq.
I think we should have nuked Iran the first time a U.S. service member tripped over their own dick and got a concussion from hitting the corner of the table.
Yeah, let's break the nuclear taboo because Iran got a
every time a U.S. service member gets syphilis from underage, like a local that they wanted off base.
We literally have bombed Iran
for every crime committed to us. $1 billion.
I said, Vaush, we bomb Iran several times
from the other side.
Yeah,
I think we should end the world if it means we get to spend just another day occupying military bases in the Middle East. I don't give a shit about anything.
Occupying military bases that
flesh one
are
whose?
Are they in countries where they were invited?
I'm sure the administration. I'm sure that those who are serving in the administration are very concerned.
I'm sure
about U.S. servicemen and women and others who are serving in harm's way. I think they're also concerned.
Overriding concern. I think she might have better takes on Syria.
She probably does.
Why are you putting the idea of rules of engagement? Yeah, I'm just reading them out loud from like a document.
Like I don't know how pro-Iran Assad people are, but she probably does.
Oh, she's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's already a 2-hour-long segment.
Yeah,
thank God.
It was.
Thank God.
And it was 40 minutes of you arguing irrelevant shit with your fucking chat.
That had to be one of the worst videos I've ever watched. I'm trying to think. There's definitely ones that were worse, like second thought videos, like that one.
Oh yeah.
That like if my neck hurts tomorrow, that will be the factor on how much this pissed me off. I definitely yelled more at this one than any time. I've definitely yelled more here than any time before, but I don't think I was pissed off as much throughout the whole thing than I was at certain other videos.
I'm looking.
Okay.
Anyway, here's the soundbite nobody's heard.
Hang on, one second. One second. I just want to remind everyone that YouTube demonetized us because we're good journalists. And in that demonetization, when we took the training, the example it gave was literally what we did, but it doesn't matter to them. Just like, you know who else does great journalism? Dylan Burns, also demonetized, So if you support good journalism, please go to our Patreon. Please support us. We need funding so we can found our nonprofit, so we can start making just remaking the entire journalist industry, solve people from bad takes that Vaush has, solve people from bad takes that Fox News has, and actually get more to the general Petraeus rational take of tonight. Imagine that happening constantly from everyone, and people being able to tell you, oh, these people back a Hezbollah narrative, these people back this narrative, this person's an idiot because he wants Kurds to die. If you're pro information and pro actually using your brain and critical thinking, like Vaush says he is and isn't clearly, please check out our Patreon. $1, $2, doesn't matter. $100. It might be even a tier that we have on there because we didn't really. I think we just put
there's lots of tiers at this point.
I'll tell you right now, if you go on there and you give us $100 every month for the rest of the year, you can tell us a video to make and we'll make it. Anyway, also, in there, we have the link at the bottom to support Ukrainian drone pilots. The U.S. isn't going to do it. The drones have been extremely effective on Russian forces lately. They're basically the only thing that's keeping Russia at bay. When these munitions run out, it's going to come down to insurgent tactics. So the more we fund these people, the more they're equipped for when that time comes, and when America fails them, the better. So if you're not going to spend your money on us, please spend it on Ukraine, where democracy matters more than ever. Anyway, go ahead, Jack. Close us out with a soundbite.
Here's a soundbite nobody's heard because we haven't played this one on this live stream
laughing.
Before.
Fuck off. Stop laughing.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?